TAFE, well done.
I reckon it's fantastic. I'm really pleased that all our local grounds are getting sponsorship deals. Must be keeping them afloat beautifully.
Who's Keith Barclay? Can you remember him from
Absolutely,
your early days?
I certainly can. Yeah, Keithy Barclay was a great stalwart of the North Geelong Football Club. He held many roles. He was one of those 50, what do you call them? The 1950 halcyon days they were.
Yes.
So I think there were 7 premierships in a row. I think Barclays, there was Keith and there was Jackie Barclay, my under-13 coach. They were related and taught me how to kick mark handball, I'll say that much.
Kick mark handball. Now, we have got a reserves grade game here. Geelong East, sorry, Grubby hates that. East Geelong. East Geelong are currently leading 6-3-39. Inverleigh have kicked the last couple of goals and they've got a kick in the goal square. And if successful, they'll go to 5-4-34. So there's only 5 points in it. And we're 20 minutes into the third quarter. This is going to go down to the wire as well. These same two teams are going to play. 3/4 time siren goes. And that kick has gone straight through the middle. 5-point difference at 3/4 time in the reserve grade game here. Great excitement. Grubby, how are you going to be today having someone who actually knows about footy co-commentating with you? This will be interesting.
Well, it will be too, because the last two blokes we had, Bissett and Shaw, they were not much good. They weren't much chop. But you're asking him who's Keith Barclay. Who's Gordon Tafe? Do you know him?
In actual fact, I did my plumbing apprenticeship at the Gordon Tafe.
Okay, so did my son.
Yeah, out the front in the right next to the railway station. I think it's now an arts precinct centre where they. Well, look, I tell you what, we had an art of different forms down there, Dale. Don't you worry.
Don't you worry.
You know what? I did my electrical apprenticeship at the same place, right next to the station. No bother driving. Because you used to sneak off at lunchtime and have a few pots and just get the train home.
Yeah, well, I couldn't do that because I had to go to football training with this bloke.
Yeah, so did I.
No, but you didn't care.
Us.
You didn't care. That's exactly right. But great to be here with the great Dale Smythe.
Yeah.
Smythe? It's Smythe, isn't it?
It's
official.
Smith.
I'd rather call it the other way. I like it. It's got a bit more of an air to it, a bit of royalty.
Every week I introduce him as a champion of the Cats. Grubby always laughs, jokes and casts aspersions. How good was he?
Oh, very good footballer. Very, very a smart footballer, very thinking footballer, very beautifully skilled footballer. And you were really unfortunate in my first experience with you. I think you were coming off a knee injury the previous year. That would have been the days where they used hammer and chisel.
It was only a cartilage trim and I was in hospital for 13 days, I reckon.
13 days?
So how many senior games did you play?
Plenty.
How many?
7.
Very good games.
It must have been good if he's calling him a champion.
No, he's a very good player, Dale. Dale was a great player. It was great to be involved my first couple of seasons with a bunch of blokes that did carry the flag in the twos in 3 years in a row, I think, Smithy, wasn't it?
Yes.
3 years. I didn't play the first one, 1980, 81, 82 I played in. It was the first one. It was against Sydney or South Melbourne.
Yeah, Sydney.
South Melbourne.
South Melbourne, yeah.
Yep. So that was I watched that with the Harrington family. That actual grand final, I was at the Harrington's household. I was 15 years of age. I played my first year of senior football at North Geelong. So we were out and we didn't play finals back in those days. And the next year, I'm running around on the MCG with these guys that I'd watched the year before through the bottom of a beer bottle, of course.
Would he have been the biggest bloke on the field and run around and not whack anybody?
He wasn't that big back then.
He wouldn't whack anybody.
No, he was a fair player, like an honest.
I thought so.
Not a thug. He was a skilled player, but he was not an outside player, an inside skilled, tough player. I enjoyed it, and I'm not sending him up.
No, that's right. Great difference between you arriving at Geelong, local recruiter grabs you out of North Geelong, you play a bit of under-19s, work your way up. Completely different to your young bloke who's at Geelong now. The system changed. Just going back to those years when. I don't know whether you're barrack for Geelong as a kid or not, but a recruiter comes down and says, come and have a game at the under-19s. What was it like?
Well, it was really interesting because I know full well they were not one bit interested in what I could provide. I think it was about 6 foot. No, I wasn't. No, the Collingwood Stripes from the North Geelong Magpies did make me look very tall, but I was I was a scrawny runt of a thing. And I reckon, I think I remember looking in a record, I was 63 kilos wringing wet, Smithy. Can you remember what you were?
Well, they actually less than me at 87, I think, Busey at some stages, and I'm pretty much
could have ridden in the Grand
happy with that.
I could have got a ride.
Well, I'll tell you what, just watching you play though, like being small, you were probably one of the strongest blokes I ever saw play. How do you do that when you're that small?
I had an elder brother, and if you boys, anyone got an older brother?
Oh yeah, I've got 4.
You had to compete against those boys, and so you really had to. No, look, it was really interesting. We didn't have any equipment out there at the Maggies, and so there's no weights room to get do anything stupid. So I didn't wreck my body. You know, we'd pretty much push-ups and basic stuff when I was a kid was our strength training. So there was no regime that I was brought into to follow. I was a reasonable athlete. I used to do athletics as well, and I was a reasonable pole vaulter, and there you had to have some upper body strength. So you know, I sort of found my way of being strong just through natural, organic ways.
Because I mean, wrestling with blokes like Dermot Brereton, who's a big, strong bloke, but you held your own if you had to have a wrestling match with him, blokes like that size.
Dipper?
Well, he was about my age. Dipper was a couple of kilos. Had a couple of kilos on me, and a few years as well. So I you know, some people you had to respect, and if you were going to take on a big bull like that, you made sure you didn't let go.
Hey, Busey, speaking of respect, that thing there is called the Eric Nichols clock.
The great Eric Nichols.
How much of an influence? Because I've got Ray Sarcevic next door to me. He speaks glowingly. You two were thick as thieves. How much of an influence was he on
Eric
your career?
Nichols was my Teal Cup coach. Did a couple of underage squads I was involved with. I was absolutely treated by having the great man Eric Nichols give me some tuition along the way, and it was just magnificent. It was just a great grounding. You know, the guy had played VFL football back then, seniors and seconds, and just was able to share it with you. Some coaches or some past players find it really difficult to pass on a message or something that they've learned, or to be able to coach you as a young man. And us, I believe that group, the Southwest group that we actually played on this oval to get selected for state duties, was, and I give that all to Eric Nichols. He was just an amazing individual, great family man, great. His kids were great kids. I loved growing up with them. And you know, Val, what a treat! He picked one out. You know, like you got a great pairing there, Val and Eric.
I was just about to say, don't ever talk about Eric without talking about a beautiful person like Val.
You've got
it. She is magnificent.
Yeah, great lady, really great people, great to be involved with.
Now you get down to the Cats under 19s. You're playing seconds, a couple of grand finals, premierships. At that stage, did you just have this absolutely burning desire to play in the seniors?
I had no idea what I was doing. It was really funny because, and Smith will probably tell you the same story. You're down there and you're under false pretenses, really, because you're running around with, you know, within 2 years of being in the local comp out here, running around with your mates, you're all of a sudden thrust into playing with people who you idolised. Like you saw these guys, Kevin Sheehan, you know, these old names, Ian Nankervis, Bruce Nankervis, Mick Turner, you know, all these guys that you just watched, and you sat in the outer and you thought, geez, you know, can't they play? And I wonder if I'll ever be that good. You know, I'd like to think one day, you'd call the name as you were mucking about in the breaks of the footy, you know, and Turner runs around on his left, picks it through. You know, you'd say those things to yourself. Next thing you're playing with them. Smithy, it's a diabolical scenario, isn't it?
It is. You're right. And especially you got those blokes plus, you know. Bruce Peake came across and all that sort of stuff.
Brian Peake.
You get those blokes, yeah. Brian Peake, yeah. And you got it's something you sort of live to look forward to, I suppose. You got blokes that you said you're watching as a kid running around the outside and playing local footy, and all of a sudden you're amongst them. Pretty exciting sort of stuff.
And then you're playing against some of those other people that you've idolised, also been in absolute terror and fear for, because Roger Merritt's running around for the opposition. I mean, Roger Merritt, it took a while to build his reputation, but coming through the seconds, you knew who he was because he was big, fierce, ugly, and mean. And he didn't mind throwing the boots at you, elbows, fists, didn't matter. He'd throw it at you.
Better teammate than opponent, which you experienced.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to get to Brisbane just so I didn't have to play against that knucklehead.
Tell us about the Brisbane decision. What made you go? You devastated a lot of Geelong supporters who had your number on their back.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, and you know what? That didn't really sit well with me either, to be honest. I had a lot of great friends, a lot of kids that I'd shook their hand. I knew who they were by name, and it was really, for me, it was devastating to let them down in that fashion. But it was a scenario where I really couldn't stay. I knew how the club felt, and I knew how the coaching staff felt about me. So I was one that didn't need to, I smelt the roses pretty quickly, and I knew what was going on, and I knew how they were operating. I thought, well, the only thing that they're not asking me is where I would like to go in a nice manner. They shouted it down a stairwell to me, one of the officials, and I thought that's as poor a form as you'll get. So I thought to myself, well, if you're going to be a bit like that, I will go somewhere, and I'll go under my own terms.
Yeah.
Which was not to do a deal and not to do, I was taken aback by that particular comment by that particular official, and he damaged the club's chances of getting a reasonable trade for me.
Yeah.
So I just sat in the wings, waited till the contract expired, and then we started talking to clubs.
And, of course, that would not happen in the current regime at Geelong.
Not at all. No, and you look at, I think Hawthorn have done it really well too with players. They work them into the system, they exit them from the system, and if they still want to continue to play or coach, they help them get a job somewhere. And I think that's really clever, and it's great for the competition, and it keeps good players and especially mature age players able to go to young clubs and give them some assistance.
I've asked you this before, and I'll ask it again about big occasion games you were very good in, but the ones that really stood out for me were the times you wore the big white V. You seemed to grow another leg. You were always at your best, always exciting and confident. Was that just a Ted Whitten thing, or the company you kept? Because I reckon your record as a Victorian was outstanding.
Look, I really enjoyed that opportunity, and Smithy will tell you, back in those early years, we had success at seconds level, but it didn't transfer moving forward for the next 8 years, to be honest. It was not until 89 we played a final. So we used to actually have a little conversation. There was Johnny Mossips, Bernard Toohey, myself, and it was the other one. Anyway, we used to say, well, look, we don't play finals, so these are our finals games in the middle of the year. Mark Boss was the other one, great Mark Boss, dual Cargie medalist. So we would work out. Now that was our aim, was to get into that side to play in amongst the best players, to feel the finals flavour, and it really was. That you get to WA and play over there against the great sides of the West, and then you get to Adelaide, and if there was ever a nasty, vicious rivalry, and it still exists today with the Port Adelaide fans. If you've never gone over there, listeners, to watch the Cats or any other side that you barrack for against one of those Adelaide sides, you'll just never know the feeling of it. But in all honesty, you'd get there, and the bus would drive you straight into the ground and make sure you got off and into a lift so that nobody could get at you. They hated us. They absolutely hated us with true passion. So, it was one of those, I loved the state footy. It was so much fun. You're playing with the best players, Waitman and Royal and all these great young, small rovers and midfielders that I used to have to play against, and it was great to have them as teammates for a change.
Yeah, really good. Before we get on to today's footy, just you're a young bloke now, you're watching the Cats in a totally different light. How do you deal with you love the club, but you've got this extra motivation tucked away in the team?
It's a real treat, to be honest, and people may not understand what I mean by that, so I'll try and explain it the best way I can. The great thing about having a young fella playing down at the Cats, and whichever of my children that were lucky enough to have firstly the desire and the skill and the that I don't know what it is. It's an ingredient that people have once you get down there, or to get yourself down there. So I'll just say it's drive. The drive to get down there.
Word.
And he has taken the bit by the in his teeth, and he's just gobbled up everything they've told him. They've given him an opportunity. He hasn't wasted that opportunity. He in fact has paid homage to a lot of people out at Leopold that had faith in him, and you've got to really take your hat off to all those people that had influence on him over his time as a kid, because he was a scrawny thing. I mean, there's kids out here in the seconds that are much bigger than what he was, and probably had more talent. But he worked his way, and I always said that one thing about Jed is he's always been able to step up to the next level to play at whatever he's required to play, and he was very coachable.
I remember having the privilege of sitting beside you. You'd played about 30 or 40 games, and you were talking about the importance of having confidence, and he was making blues then. He might get dropped occasionally, but he was wearing away. But once he got that 50 or 60, you just couldn't imagine Geelong defence without him. That must sit well with you, that he's an integral part of the team rather than someone trying to survive. It's
interesting you say that, because I was at a function one time, and Brian Cook was talking about what it's like to have to speak to parents, and he said the best conversation I had with Andrew Buse, and I honestly couldn't remember the conversation, and he said, he said to me, he said, "Oh, Cookie," he said, I reckon he needs another game in the twos next week, or maybe for another month." And he looked at me and nearly fell over. He goes, "Parents come up to me and they're saying, 'Why isn't my kid getting a game?'" And it's the same old story. I mean, it happens at local level as well. It happens everywhere. I coach VFL and I've coached local football. I've done kids football, and it doesn't matter. You've always got a parent coming up and saying, "Why isn't my kid getting a game?" Or "What'd you take him off for?" And what did you? The question's always asked of you. But I'm pretty honest, and I felt like many times, the kid needs another run. Pop him back in the twos.
Just along those lines, you yourself obviously played league footy. Jed's played league footy. Young Jackson has been a very, very good local footballer, and he's come into our league this year. I know he started the season under an injury cloud, but he finished it off pretty well, so I'm told. Yeah,
Jacko, he likes continuity in play. And the unfortunate thing was he did his ankle just before the season kicked off, and it put him a long way behind the 8 ball. His fitness was up, everything was really good, his markers were great, but the ankle just wouldn't come good. So had to wait until he was truly right. So we gave him an extra week as well. Came up against the mighty East Geelong boys, and they gave us a fair workover, and he was another one who got worked over as well. And he knew that he was off the pace, and that the comp was a real comp. Yep. And he needed to get himself fit, so he went about getting himself much fitter. And coming back in off the injury, you're just anybody out there. Don't matter how good you are, you've got to get yourself fit, and you've got to get your form up. Yep. And when you're trying to do them both together, it is a nightmare. So it just takes a couple of weeks, and you've got to be patient with those fellas.
Will he be back at North next year for another crack at it?
He loves it.
Good.
He loves the club. Yeah, it's really good. The club have been great for him. He's been good for the club. He's got some the player group. You would see Jackson as being a little quirky. He's not a real footy club guy. Yeah. He's not a drinker. He doesn't do hang around a long time. He's social enough, and he's really likeable. But how he does his stuff is he gets his respect is on the field. Yep. The way he goes about it, and he sets example for those young fellas around him. And we're a very young side, so they're very you can make an impact on them really easily.
And he'll enjoy it. They got rid of the dead wood in Jason Abib, so.
Jace has been a stalwart of the club. He's what's he been 10, 11 years as club president. Yeah. No one does that easily these days, and it's getting tougher as a gig because you've got to run it like a mini business.
You do. A
little bit like you boys here.
Yeah. Hey, you're speaking of coaching in the VFL. Do you and Mick Malthouse still catch up for your pre-Christmas drinks?
Mick and I can tell you this, that whilst I was coaching Williamstown as the backup club for his team in the early 2000s, he would tell you one thing, and I believe that he was telling me the truth, and he was absolutely spinning the bottle the other way. I couldn't believe the crap that came out of his mouth and how difficult he made life for me off behind the scenes. Actually, in fact, one of the guys in the coaching panel who was fantastic to work with was Dean Laidley. He's no longer Dean.
Danielle.
So Dean got 3 weeks for striking me one day, and I couldn't believe why he'd hit me. But someone said to me later on, they said, you clearly weren't his type. And then I had someone else say it was a love tap. Dale.
Probably had the wrong nail polish on.
Yeah, but that's what happened in them days.
But he was good.
What?
No good.
No, when you got the other clubs, like Clarkson coached Werribee. I don't know if you were aware of that.
Yeah, he coached the same time I took Willie on.
And Footscray were telling him what to do.
Yep.
And then he did it his way because he wanted to win.
And then
and he just said, I'm out of here. And he finished up in Adelaide.
No, he did the right thing.
Yeah, my word, he did.
Yeah. Well, see, we had the split alignment with them. So Werribee had half of the list. We had the other half of the list in the first part of this alignment stuff. And it worked really well for us because we picked more senior players.
Yeah.
We had guys like Billy Kolyanook playing and Crofty and these guys. We knew we were going to play a fair bit of footy with us. So that helped us with our list and crept us into the finals. So we actually, and we were really, we put a really good program together that year that embraced the Williamstown Bulldogs relationship.
Yeah. But that's what you have to do because the other clubs, they don't care about their seconds. But Williamstown, Werribee, Port Melbourne, they want to win. It's still a competition
Absolutely.
for them. No feeders for them.
No, and you will always have pushback from the senior club. Plough was, he'd be at me about certain blokes, not being given a chance or opportunity. But I could at least talk to. But there was a guy called Phil Malin. There's always one who just doesn't want to play ball with you and wants to tell you how you're supposed to be doing it. I said, you just disrespect me. You don't see me as an equal. You see me as someone that you're employing. I said, I am the senior coach of Williamstown Football Club. I said, now I respect your position in your club, but you've got to understand I'm the senior coach.
Well, he should have understood because he was actually the senior coach at Springvale at some point.
Yeah, well, and you would have thought, but no, he wanted to put his finger in my chest and start pushing, and I said, get that out of my chest. Plough came out of his office and goes, "Get you quickly in here, I need to talk to you."
Okay, we're 11 minutes into the final quarter. Reserves, East Geelong have kicked away again another couple of goals in the last quarter. 8-6-54, Inverleigh 5-4-34. Steelo, we might go back to you in the studio, clear some sponsorship announcements, and then Grubby and Busey will tear this second semi-final to pieces. You're listening to 94.7 The Pulse, the home of local football.
All action, the match of the day, only on 94.7 The Pulse.
We're at the Gordon Tafe Oval, St Albans reserves game. Inverleigh kicked a goal during that little break. East Geelong 8-6-54, Inverleigh 6-4-40. Back within striking distance, 14 minutes and 20 seconds into the final quarter here. So, Grubby, this is a very, very big game. You love GDFL finals. We've seen a fair bit of both of these sides through the year. They're matched up pretty well, although the last one was a spifflication for Inverleigh. How do you see it going today?
Well, I thought Inverleigh was the best side in the comp for about 15 rounds. And then they seemed to go off the boil a little bit, and East improved. And they probably took over the number one mantle. So it still begs the question, can Inverleigh get back to that form they had in the first 15 rounds? Because if they can, then we're going to have a cracker on their hands and they can win. Don't worry about that. But at the moment, the onus lies on East Geelong because their form's been better than everybody else in the comp. They've got a good blend of experience. They've got some really, really good kids. And I know if I was the Inverleigh boys, I'd be putting a lot of pressure on some of those kids, their first final series. Some of them are straight out of under-18s last year. And you have to put those kids under the pressure. My biggest match is the battle of the Whitley medalist and the runner-up Whitley medalist. And I'm not completely happy with the Whitley medal this year. And I'm not bagging umpires, but I just thought the last time we saw these two sides play, it was a magnificent battle, and we called it a bit like a heavyweight title fight. We called it a draw. And then in the Team of the Year, they both had, 6 or 7 votes each, and we had to go to a tiebreaker, and McLennan won that. And I just wish them umpires could have found one more vote for the big poodle, so the two giants could have shared it. But this is going to be a great battle today, and I tell you what, I couldn't predict who'd win that battle because they're both magnificent players.
Hey, Busey, when we got to the end of round 17 in the vote count, we had 3 ruckmen tied on 19 votes. Now, as a bloke who's one of these midfielders that win all the awards, you must have been thrilled on behalf of the ruckman, were you?
I was rapt to see that the big boys were getting a lot of votes. You know what? The thing is, the umpires must be absolutely in awe of these big specimens. But look, they do a great job, the ruckman. But I tell you what, the small men make their job look really, really, really good, don't they? They really enhance them, Smithy.
Well, it's unusual that ruckmen in our league can actually kick a football, but they actually can, mate. That's something that ruckmen not known for.
Well, Bannockburn got one that goes forward and kicks goals.
Fulton.
Yeah.
That's where he was the third one. I think
that's
Rob was
right.
talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
But Wilson, and as I said, you can also play him full in a forward line, and I reckon McLennan would probably be able to handle himself in a forward pocket, just sitting off the full forward in there as well.
But isn't it funny how we don't trust them in defence?
Yeah.
They don't get trusted in defence.
Yeah,
That's the truth.
But these blokes you can. They're just footballers as well. And when was the last time in GDFL that 2 ruckmen finished in the top 3? It'd be a long, long, long time ago.
Yeah.
I would have thought.
Hey, speaking of ruckmen,
1995, actually.
Were you
Who's
played
that?
in the game where Ablett kicked the goal after the siren
Stuart?
against North, weren't you?
No, I'd gone to Brisbane.
Oh, you'd gone to Brisbane.
Yeah, I watched that one.
Remember Barnes took that mark in the goal square and handballed it to Bairstow. What the hell am I going to do with this?
Oh.
Crazy men they are.
No, they are. It's different air. Past 6'3", it's different air, and it impacts them very, very differently.
Well, Smithy wants to know the answer to that question.
How tall are you, mate?
Well, Mick Bird won it from Motta
about
Warwick.
6.
Yeah.
And Brenton Vilson's finished third with Johnny Cousins in the middle of them. That was back
What
in
year was that?
95.
95.
Yeah.
That's a ways back.
Mick Bird was only barely 6 foot. Might have been
Well,
6'1".
the funny thing is, he won the medal, and both times they played against Werribee, Vilson's destroyed him. He was too big for him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he
so
wasn't a big
ruckman,
ruckman.
I think Mark Stewart might have won one at some point in time.
What about
Won the
Stewie?
first ever Whitley medal in 1990 something.
Isn't it amazing? He's still running around having a kick, helping out.
Running's not a good option.
No, it's not his specialty, but he played it in the first round against the Maggies, and he actually played quite a good game. But we got the siren, is it?
Well, that was the siren, but it's only gone 18 minutes, so I don't know what's going on there.
Cogsy's not here, is he? What were you saying?
It's a 12-pointer. Just looking at the big fellas and watching the big fella Stewart playing in as a 50-plus-year-old.
You know what I find? It actually makes me angry that some people that you run across say, what the hell's he doing there? Well, I've said it at the start when we watched Corio. They've got a kid, and I can't remember his name.
Green.
Yeah, and he might be all right. But Stewart's not just rucking. He's actually teaching this kid how to play football out on the ground.
He's coaching.
Yeah, so I agree with you. What Stewie's doing is magnificent. There's got to be a time when he's got to give it away.
Yep.
But at the moment, with Corio where they are on the ladder and they struggle on field, they need him, and I reckon it's a great thing that he's doing. I really do.
Yep, it is, and I know they respect him for it. And they enjoy his banter and what he offers.
Yeah, and terrific bloke. Yeah,
and to actually be still doing it is a great credit to the bloke himself. Like
Yes.
there's a lot of blokes get a bit old abused. We know when our time's up. We just can't be bothered to go around and do that sort of stuff. But yeah, look, I give him credit. As I said, he doesn't move as good as he probably did many years ago. But as he said, he's out there doing a job for Corio and doing that very, very well.
Yep.
I forgot it last week, so I'm not going to forget it today.
Go early.
Right, I'm not going to forget it today. The umpires for today's clash, I've spoken to
Good work,
Steve
Robbie.
Keating, and he is fair dinkum that these blokes are as good as we're going to get. So our umpires today are Chris Jones, Henry Buckley, and Paul McElhinney. And I just want to make mention of the goal umpire, Johnny Valenti, one of the best going around. And I know that his 90-year-old mother, Connie, is sitting bedridden, sitting to us now. So, Connie, you have a great day, love, and listen to us all day, and I hope we make your day.
We'll give the goal umpires a bit of a run through the afternoon. Grubby, Inverleigh's defence was torn to pieces last game by East Geelong's slick forward line. Jack Filet wasn't there, not there again today. How important is that group getting some continuity that they didn't have a few weeks ago?
Well, there's better players going around maybe, but I think the most important player for the Inverleigh side is Jack Filet because he organises them. And in the first couple of weeks that he wasn't there, they were all at sea, their back line. They were sort of... He organises it, but he also gets to the footy to help them out. And without him there, that left a big hole. But gradually they've been starting to fill that hole. I still don't think they were back to their best last week. I thought Bannockburn probably put in their poorest performance for the year, so I'm still not 100%, but he is a big loss. But and now I can see why Inverleigh sacked you.
Busey, you probably only had one look at each of these during the year, so you might not be the right person to come up with all the insights into them. But what's your general feeling on if you've got someone like Donny who is capable of kicking goals, do you risk him to go back and hold the defence together, or is that someone else's responsibility?
I reckon you leave that to somebody else, particularly early, and perhaps later on in the game. See how it starts to play out. I think Easter, what I've seen of them this year, and was lucky enough to see them twice, they absolutely obliterated us in the first round, and the second round was a little bit more competitive. But the thing that their strong suit is their rebound off half-back. So their cut-off football is brilliant. They then turn it round and start heading up the field and can hit targets. So this open big field could play into the hands of the Easties. In a way, I'll probably pick them to win. But Inverleigh, I really enjoy watching Inverleigh. They're nice skills. They're a little bit more balanced, but if anything, they probably lack a little bit of leg speed. Now, the wingers will have leg speed, but around the ground, and I've got a few older heads out there, and a couple of blokes I absolutely dearly love in local football, and I love watching them, and I'm going to enjoy this contest, no doubt. But I just reckon Easties might just move the ball a little bit more, and it'll be then down to fitness in the last quarter. So I'll see it as probably being pretty evens, but I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a cracker.
Grubby, you spoke all year about the importance of being able to play this ground because of the space. Yep. I didn't think it was necessarily played very well last week by any of the four sides, but do you think East have got the game plan that will utilise the space?
Well, I reckon East and Belpost Hill have got grounds. They're the closest in size to these, maybe North a bit too, but I reckon Belpost Hill played it pretty well last week, where they just didn't rush it forward. They held on to it like Belpost Hill do, and East play that game as well, and they come out of defence really, really well. So, but when they don't, when we saw them against Belpost Hill, wouldn't let them do that, they struggled for a plan B, and they didn't win the game of footy. So that's what I'd be concentrating on. But the other thing with the forwards is that there's a bloke down there named Ryan Rich who just keeps banging it forward every time. It'd be almost feasible to put a bloke on him and make sure that he doesn't rebound the way he does. They got two of them. Sam Lowe's back in for his first game, but because of that, you can't have two defensive forwards.
And Ryan's terrific, Smithy. He's an ex-Leopold boy and had some experience there as a young fella. Ex-basketballer too, by the way.
Okay.
State basketballer. So he's got great hands. He's got great, he reads the game well. And the thing about him is he might look big in this competition, but he was a smaller player at GFL level, and so he's had that asset of being able to be a smaller player, but plays tall here, but has that ability to be small as well. So he's really handy. And
does it well too, no doubt. What about these blokes, Smithy, that have come back in? Lowe hasn't played a game for a few weeks, a lot of weeks. Vesakuru hasn't either. Do they get caught short on this big ground? Vesakuru especially because he's a little bit older.
Sam Lowe, probably, I'm not too sure what he's had an arm injury, so he's obviously been able to get out and run, and he'll have the miles in his legs, I would think. But again, it's a little bit different to do that, to actually play a game of football. So I think he'll take some time. And I just said to Rob before, we watched young Hugh Menzies run around here in the seconds now. He's the ideal sort of bloke that can come in and play, and being only a young bloke, but I thought even halfway through the first quarter, he's got hands on his knees there, trying to a bit of a blow. So that move to let him play in the reserves today might be held in good stead, because I suppose now, if they do win today, he's not going to get another opportunity. He can probably play seconds next week, can he? Or he won't be able to, because they won't be because he would have played too many senior games, wouldn't he? So he can't.
It depends how they fall, yeah. If Inverleigh seniors win today,
yeah, then East will be playing both games. Yeah. Anyway, they won't. No, East go straight through. Yeah, so they won't have anything.
So he won't be playing at all next week.
So he won't have another game to play. So yeah, then you've got to weigh up the options of whether he's better value to come in. But again, I definitely have him out there for their senior side. But again, we spoke about. You spoke about Rich, but they've also got guys like Fanny and Belai, though, who really hold up their back half as tall defenders, and they've got good height. They move well around the ground, and that's going to be the difference. But I think we're in Inverleigh haven't really got that Jack Fight back there to control that back six. You're relying on Crawley's back there as the main one, as your major tall, but then you're looking for someone else that's not there. Byell State usually is there. He's been doing a job, but he's going to need to step up again today and take that next step to make sure that they control their key forwards.
The bloke I reckon you left out that I like in their defence is Mitch Helmore. He's a good player, Mitch Helmore. He doesn't let anybody get away from him, so he's another good one.
He did a great job on Casey Meehan last time they met.
He did. And he's a very good kid.
The defenders do get a bit of an unsung rap in this competition.
Yeah.
They do a great job. They may not be super skilled and may not be slick with the ball, but if they can create run, then their midfield start to run, and then the forwards get opportunity one-on-one. Most teams will get a great advantage out of that.
Yeah, and if East do go straight through today, East are going to have the same problem they got next week. Do you play Menzies or Vesakura? That's going to come down to them too. I just think for the future of their club, I don't think it'll matter much whether they win or lose with those two in. I think I'd be playing the kid rather than the bloke that's not going to be there for too much longer and bring him in as part of the club. I'd be playing Menzies myself.
Grubby, I just wonder whether Mitch Hoare is actually the one that they kept in rather than Menzies. I reckon Vesakura was always going to play if he was fit, because he's so important at setting things up. And while Mitch Hoare's played a fair bit of seconds footy early in the year, so he might be the one actually that is blind ball. According to Shawnee O'Leary, it's today it was out of Menzies and Vesakura. Yeah, well, that answers that then. That might be the same on grand final day, depends on who's playing. But the Inverleigh team are out in the ground, but they're not dressed to play yet. They've just come out for a bit of a warm-up. There's an extra gap of time between the end of the reserves and the senior game. They're just heading off. We'll probably get umpires out here shortly. Very, very close to starting time. What are we at? 3 minutes to 2. Is it a 10 past 2 start today, Grubby? Well, I'll tell you what, it won't be starting at 2 by the looks of Inverleigh wandering off, so no. It must be a 10 past 2. We've got to get all these times right for finals, because we watch the seconds, but we can't do that grand final day because it's getting commentated. So I don't know what we're going to do there. There'll be no interviews in that day.
You'll fill the air, mate. You'll find a way.
We'll find a way. Don't you worry about that.
Great men find a way.
We'll work our way through it. Steelo, we might go back to you in the studio while we're just finding out what's happening here. We can announce that East Geelong won the reserve grade game by 8 points. It was a slightly early finish, not quite sure what happened. Inverleigh were coming at them with a wet sail, but ran out of time. So East Geelong through to the grand final here on September the 10th already, and we await for what happens with the same two teams playing each other in the senior game very shortly. We'll go back to the studios of 94.7 The Pulse, your home of local football. GDFL second semi-final day. Umpires are on the ground awaiting the two sides, East Geelong and Inverleigh, to come out and join us and get this great game underway. We've seen the flag poles last week. First day they were blowing hard towards the Geelong end. Next week they were blowing hard towards the Torquay end. Dale Smith, they're hanging a bit limply today, so there's probably not a lot of breeze out there.
Not at the moment, Rob, and that's a good thing, but things can change, as you know. When you predict the weather, we often get a difference. But at the moment, as I said, no excuses, and to be honest, they couldn't get a better couple of days for football this weekend, and we're just hoping that we get a better look at sides than we did last week, because they were two one-sided affairs. So we hope today changes all that for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah. Busey, your first look at GDFL footy after coming from a pretty good Ballerine competition. You were involved in Anglesea there. They tasted a bit of finals, and still not quite at the absolute top tier, but that's damn good footy and a level below GFL. But how did you find GDFL? Was it as you expected, or a bit better, but not quite as good?
Oh, look, it's been a great transition to for me. I mean, I guess after playing, now there's 20 odd years under my belt as someone doing it off field, and I've done pretty much. I've done VFL all the way through to GFL, Ballerine, now GD, and a lot of junior coaching in between all that. So I've had a really good balance of it, and this is my first opportunity this year to have a look at this competition, and it's a terrific competition. I remember watching this back in the nasty 90s, and it was a brutal competition. It's tidied itself up. It's become a really great place, a terrific place for young men who perhaps may needed to come back to a competition that's equal to their ability. And Jackson is probably one of those kids who he could have knocked out a handful of senior GFL games and been in and out of the side and had a career. But, you know, for him to drop back to the Bellarine, terrific for him. He got some great results there personally, and the team played in preliminary final was the best effort we got to. So we've for me, and watching him and seeing how boys can do it, transition back into this competition, it's not a step backwards, it's a step sideways. It's a great comp. It's played and umpired very, very well. And there's no thuggery going on out there. So, you know, it's a football match, and that's what these kids come to play these days. They want to do boxing or kickboxing, Muay Thai, go and do that stuff somewhere else. But out here, this is a fantastic opportunity and a great landscape for people to cut their teeth in playing great brand of football.
Is it too clean a bit, though?
Nah.
Don't you like to see a little bit of it?
No, mate, don't miss it one bit. In all honesty, it was really giving me the irrits, and I'm sure a lot of people, you know, particularly out in the thinking people of our community these days are well past coming out and watching a bloodbath.
I'm not talking about a bloodbath, but let's put it back on you, right? With strength that we talked about before. How many sling tackles would you have done in your career? There'd be a few where you're just strong enough to flatten the bloke. And now they're a free kick. Even if they don't hit their head, it's a free kick. Is that too clean? No. You're taught to tackle hard.
Yeah, no, I don't have that problem. I think that there's a duty of care, and I not that I'm a huge OH&S freak, but I do understand that, you know, we've got to make sure that people go home to their families.
Yeah.
You know, that's important. They come here to put on a show for us, and we're really blessed and lucky that we look at the crowd. We've got a magnificent crowd down here, beautiful day. The last thing we want to see is an ambulance turning up because of some stupidity.
Yeah.
We want to see these guys put on the best show and have a great game and look at the result, goals versus goals, forwards versus defence, midfield versus midfield, and that's what we come for. That's what I come for. I think most of the public today, and I know because we remember the dark old days. And I tell you what, I remember watching the North Geelong Grand Final against Anarchy.
That was a beauty.
That was a shocker.
It was a beauty.
I had a brother standing out there, and I watched him get king hit twice. And I thought to myself, I'm this far from jumping the fence because it was just, you know, out of control. It was it was out of control. Today we've got magnificent control. The GDFL do a magnificent job governing the game, and I think the AFL have taken it to a responsible level. And we haven't gone overboard. We've got a great standard, a great game that we'll have a great future.
Well, I'll agree to disagree because I honestly think over 100 years of football, one of the greatest things in our game was the bump. And now, because of the rules surrounding it, there is no bumps anymore. And you were taught to bump. You were taught to tackle. And it's got a little bit too bruise-free for me.
No, I don't agree. I think it's a faster game it's ever been. I think that the collisions are far greater than you know, watching a bloke standing off a pack, getting absolutely cleaned up by someone not even enticed by the ball. Here we see two blokes smashing forward into a contest. Only fear is that they don't hurt each other, but my goodness, you've got a defender and a forward running for the football head on. It doesn't get any more brutal than that. And I think there's still gladiatorial efforts out there. Even the ruckmen, they're still running at each other. I think we've got plenty of contact. We've got a great tackling system, and I'm glad you don't agree with me because it'd be boring listening.
Well, that's the point. And the thing is, I don't think I'd be bothered playing if you weren't allowed to lift the elbow now and again. You know?
Oh, dear me. Oh, great
radio.
Great little radio bout between Andrew Buse and Richard Grubby Cations, our joint expert commentators today. Grubby, who's coaching who?
Well, I think we had Spider Brady early. He was thinking about coming in before Busey was available today, and he was going to coach Inverleigh. So I've done all my stats on East Geelong, but I can pick them. But because I've seen them all, I'll give Busey his choice.
Oh, gee whiz. All right, I'll coach Inverleigh, who I don't think is going to win, so I'll have to be defensively minded.
All right, well, I think Inverleigh are a chance, so I'll coach Inverleigh, you can coach East.
All right.
How's that?
Job done.
Because I think Inverleigh can win.
Yeah, no doubt that.
Oh, I think both teams are a chance, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think they're a very big chance. It's line ball. I think if you were trying to frame a logical argument, you'd have to go with East Geelong, but there's enough very, very good players wearing brown and gold today that would suggest to me that if they won by anything, I wouldn't be one bit surprised. Pride is a wonderful thing.
Have a look at this crowd. They believe there's going to be a contest.
Oh, yeah.
There's a great crowd. I came last week on Sunday, and I don't know where the crowd went. But today, this is fantastic.
No, it's really good. Cars all around the ground. Grubby, Pride. Inverleigh's Pride was very badly pricked. Is that going to play a big part in the way they start today?
I actually don't think so. I think today's football, they forget about those things again and just go technical. It's all technical. It's all game plan. They didn't stick to their game plan last time because East Geelong wouldn't let them. So if they can gain ascendancy and use their game plan, the one they're going to use, then they're back in a force in GDFL footy. But as I say, when you can stop in East Geelong's game plan, you've got them on the ropes, just like we saw Bellpost Hill do. And I believe if Bellpost Hill can do that, even though it was in them conditions, I think Inverleigh can do it as well. But their good players have got to start getting their hands on the ball. It's all right to say they're fast and they'll run you, but it doesn't matter if they haven't got the bloody thing. You've got to get it. First thing, get the ball, then worry about what happens later.
He's getting fired up, isn't he?
I love this game. I love the final. You wait to see me grand final. I go, stupid. It's as if I've been on the grog all night.
The first quarter, brought to you by Commander Fane Hotel.
Dalton Grundle, Adam Donoghue, Casey Meehan have all gone forward for Inverleigh. So the back six will be reliant heavily on probably Dean Muir as the captain of the team, I would suggest. Who's coaching Inverleigh?
Me.
Good to see Casey Meehan playing 30 out from goal too.
Looks like Fannings's gone to him, is it?
Yep, got the white boots on.
He'd be easy to find.
That'd be something like Nola wear, wouldn't it?
So that'll be Helmore. That'll be Helmore down the bottom. Ali Mars is down there. He's picking up Donoghue, is he?
Yeah, by the look of it.
There's a bit of pushing and shoving too. You two blokes won't like that, will you?
You're not talking to me, eh?
No.
Here we go.
Okay, Dale
it's all
Smith,
about
take
to
us
happen.
away.
Umpire with the ball thrown in the air. The two ruckmen, they go at it once again. The ball comes to their feet. Ball is now running towards centre wing. Low off the centre wing. That'll test the shoulder out. If he was sore before, he's going to win a free kick, and he will start the game nicely. So Low goes across the ground. Mulvale, he's got a bit of space on centre wing. Goes a little bit further afield. Out to his ruckman in front. McLennan doesn't take the mark, but a good spoil there from Wilson from behind. Kicks the ball off the ground. Coming out of Vesakura. He went straight at Finn O'Keefe. That's taken the wind right out of his sail. Picked up there by Lowe. He's taken back to ground again. Picked up there, Mulvale.
Paid a free kick, the ump.
And it's back here for an incorrect tackle, I think, on somebody.
That Finn O'Keefe down, is it?
Yep, on Rich. So Rich now with the ball short. Don't know where that went to quite distance. Pinned to the hands there of Monaghan. Runs across the grounds, able to get back on his preferred foot right and goes back towards centre wing. Coming up again. And the free kick is going to go to McGrath of East Geelong, right up on centre wing. He's that link player, and he's kicking the ball, goes back towards Dowsett, spoiled instead of trying to mark. Ball goes over the boundary line, so we'll have a throw in to take place. In between centre wing, half forward line, East Geelong into their attack.
Well, Busey, you're talking about two players fiercely attacking the ball, and Grubby wanted to see the bump back. Well, we saw it all wrapped up in the first 30 seconds of the game.
Poor Finney O'Keefe just on the receiving end of that, but will hopefully be back in shortly.
So ball with Lemper. Lemper now kicks the ball, goes on the left foot, goes in towards SNR forward. Crowley over the top, brings the ball back down to SNR forward. Tackle there was laid, and it was on McGrath. He didn't have the possession of the ball, and both sides are definitely testing the waters early in this contest. McGrath now from the true centre forward position, looks up, goes to the pocket. Smith is the target, out in space by himself. Cations did nicely, got the ball to ground and followed up. Couldn't get clear running, picked up there by Lowe, got the handball back inside. Handball went to his teammate, I think that was at McDonald, got the kick forward. And again now Inverleigh through Muir on the half back line, go back towards centre wing. Meehan up in front, can't take the mark, ball comes to ground. And again, over his head over the top of the ball, it's going to be picked up, or it can't be picked up at this stage. Players working through the contest. Circuit's there. He is trying to force his way through, being held up. Umpire circles and will come in and take possession of the ball.
To be an Inverleigh coach, I want Casey Moon to keep his feet in there, not just roll around on the ground. He's got to stay up.
So the ball's now thrown back up again. McLennan and also Wilson go at it. Ball comes down, picked up there by Love. He kicks the ball on the left foot. Rich leads in the race for the ball, bounces through. Manganelli runs onto it, looks to go back on the left foot, looks inside, uses the ball quickly back towards the goal square over the top of his coach leading at him, and Mars takes the mark and plays on. Goes to the far side of the ground, takes the first bounce, handball up, goes to Lemper, steadies himself, comes back inside. Fanning kick was okay, and the mark has been taken. So Fanning now inside defensive 50, just settling things down further. Short kick over the top. Sam Lowe doesn't look like he's been out of football at all. Has got his third possession already. He goes across the ground now and then wide. Mark will be taken out there. McDonald, I think it may be. And he chips the ball over the top. That kick wasn't quite as good. Picked up out there. And it was Burke. Got the handball away. A little bit of pressure applied. Goes back towards Manganelli. Lowe's also back in there on the contest. Puts his head over it. Got the handball away to Monaghan. Monaghan to McIntyre. And they run through the half-back line once again. Kick outside 50, but it's going to be turned over. Picked up by Gerard. Goes quickly back towards the goal square. Will go long and will go through for a tap. Rushed behind there, so Inverleigh are first on the board. They are one behind. They lead East Geelong, who are yet to score. We have gone just over 3.5 minutes. Commonwealth Hotel, first quarter scoreboard.
Usually the fine line. Was the bump fair?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing I'm talking about. Two people coming through hard, just trying to make a good contest of it. Great work there, East Geelong, defending well, but that connection kick outside half-back flank, just not making it.
That's right.
So Ali Mars for East Geelong has the ball from fullback. A long, low drop punt intercepted. Casey Meehan has taken a mark right on the 50-metre arc. Probably be just outside his boot. He'll be kicking from about 53 or 4. But he's going back. It probably dropped this at the top of the square. That's exactly what he's done. Looking for a mark there. It's bounced over the...
I think it's a goal.
No one has touched it, I don't believe. Easter suggesting it has been. The umpire said no. First goal for the afternoon to Casey Meehan. A kick that bounced at about 48 metres and just kept on rolling. Hawks are away.
Well done. Great work. Blocked out beautifully there too. The forwards down deep, just getting in front of their opponents, not getting them access to the ball to put a hand on it, and just a dribble through, probably bounced about 35 metres, I reckon. It felt like it anyway.
Well, I suppose in the final you need a little bit of luck, which they got then, but I know the flags aren't telling us much, but just looking at the goals that were kicked in the reserves, I do think Inverleigh have a bit of an aid of a slight breeze. Not a big one, but just a slight breeze.
That goal on the back of a defensive kick-in too. It's a little bit criminal back there.
Yeah.
Neville Whitley medalist Tim McLennan gets first hand on that out towards Tom Cordner-Mars. He kicks forward for Inverleigh. McGrath comes out, tackled immediately. Handballs the ball out from the pack, but Inverleigh's defended and Templeton kicks long, but it's Sam Lowe. Possession number 4, quickly across to the middle of the ground. 5, and McIntyre takes a mark. He finds Dowsett, just short of true centre half forward, pushes out into the pocket, looking for Cordner-Mars, punched away from him. Coming through is Watson Searle. Comes out to Andrew, really impressed us in the corresponding game last time. He kicks into the square. Cordner-Mars can't hold the mark. Inverleigh, desperate defence. And the ball is knocked through for a rush behind. Their first score for the afternoon, 1 behind. Inverleigh 117 on the Common Nafeen scoreboard. Ball's been kicked out into the back pocket, and I think that's Brown who has it there. Brown there kicks long down, looking in the direction of Wilson. Won't get to him. Rich got hand on the ball, can't hold it. Dalton Grundle to Wilson. Quick kick from him, heading in the direction of Manganelli, but coming through Monaghan for East Geelong. Gets it across to McIntyre, and he kicks and finds Sam Lowe. He kicks into the middle of the ground, and running down is Andrew. Andrew quickly to McDonald. And McDonald short passes and Dowsett right in the centre of the ground here at St Albans. Dowsett goes out wide. Andrew would run on. He's taken a mark. Centre wing for East Geelong, looking for some options. So Andrew now kicks long into the forward pocket. Smith's his target. Nest of Inverleigh players punch it away from him. It's near the boundary line. Will be forced over. We'll have a boundary throw in, far side of the ground, just around from the scoreboard, showing East 1 point, Inverleigh 7 points, 7 minutes into the Common Nafeen Hotel first quarter.
Well, I've been saying for a couple of years, my favourite player is Sam Lowe, and I went off him when he got injured. I think I'm getting back on the bandwagon already.
Had a great start. Ball's been thrown in. McLennan pulls it out of the ruck, tackled immediately by Wilson. Cordner-Mars gets it to Andrew, to Dowsett. Dowsett looking for Watson Searle, and he has taken the mark in the forward pocket. Made the GDFL Team of the Year.
On the half-forward flank.
Kicked over 40 goals.
I think they had 6 in, East.
Yep.
Which is a pretty good effort.
Pretty good effort indeed. So Jake Watson Searle, he's only 35 metres out. Lovely left footer. He kicks, the umpire going across to the right. Belts himself on the chest. 1 behind only. 2 points to East. 1-1 to Inverleigh, nearly 8 minutes into the Common Nafeen Hotel first quarter.
That's a bit of nerves, Busey, because that kid doesn't miss many.
No, he didn't miss one against us.
Yeah.
So the ball brought back in now to the back pocket. Muir has taken the mark. He will just slow things down now. Looking options further afield, not too many. Short options there if he wants to use it. Decides to go longer towards centre wing. That's going to be long and wide, and over out of bounce on the full to be exact. And free kick will go to East Geelong. Looks like Monaghan's got the ball in his hand. So Monaghan now plays on now, runs back inside, uses the ball, goes long back into their forward line. Dalton Grundle's going back with a flight, takes a good mark, and he again will steady things down for Inverleigh in defence. He's going to come back to where the ball came from, goes looking for Grozdanovsky out in front, mark not taken, ball runs through his arms. Monaghan goes back, leads in the race for the ball, a little bit of time, puts the pressure on some the Inverleigh defence, bent to the hands of Rich, put him right under the pressure. Ball is now held up.
Good
Umpire
decision.
said no prior opportunity there.
Yep.
Going to have a ball up, which will take place at the interchange gate here at St Albans.
They're unchanged too, Inverleigh, by the way, from last week. Maisie never made it in.
So ball with McLennan and also Wilson over the top. Goes back to McLennan. Got the handball outside. Called to Mars. Running the boundary line. Uses it now along the boundary line. Went to Hoare. Hoare went further afield. Vesicura got a runner inside. They use that and they do that quickly. Goes looking for Smith. Out in front. Picks the ball up. Bound the body he goes. Can he bring it back far enough? It'll land in the goal square. It will. Oh,
to mark.
I tell you what, he's taken the mark. I thought he was going to try and knock it to the ground, but he's put the hands up and plucked it from the Inverleigh opponent, and he'll go back from the goal square, and this will be their first goal of the afternoon. So Jake Watson-Searle from the goal square steps up, kicks the goal, and it gives them the lead. Well, they are 1-2. They lead Inverleigh on 1-1. 9.5 gone. Commonwealth Hotel, first quarter scoreboard.
Well, wasn't that brilliant play by Zach Smith? Across his body. Would have been having a shot at goal, definitely, without a doubt.
Yep.
But, gee whiz, Watson-Searle, nice hands, in the square, standing tall. You're right, they're just two they're like midfielders playing up forward, aren't they?
And they are. And I just think, and I said it 2 weeks ago, Smith can be a little bit lazy at times. If he gives us the effort like he did then all day, very hard to curb, I can tell you.
And Busey, both those boys played a lot of footy here at St Albans. That feeling comfortable at the ground will be very handy.
Oh, they'll know this one back inside out. Doesn't take much. It's a big oval, a lot of space to use.
Back in the middle, McLennan gets it down. It's Lemper trying to get through for East Geelong. He can't get away. Robertson desperately on the bottom of the pack for Inverleigh. Ball comes out to Love. He quickly kicks across the body looking for Meehan. Circuit gets hold of it to Brown. Brown goes back through traffic, then left foots at half-forward flank to Tyquin. He's tackled immediately. The ball bobbles out, but quickly kicked forward there. Touched on the line by Helmore. I think it was Hutchison who kicked that at goal then. And Helmore got back and got a hand to it right on the last line. So it's 1-2 each of two at the moment. And it's Alistair Mars for East Geelong. Kicks out looking for McGrath or McLennan. Punched away from both. Grozdanovsky's kick is smothered by Rich. Players go hard at the ball, but it goes over the boundary line right in front of the Inverleigh coach's box.
Busey, the one goal they kicked was a bit lucky. The other one didn't quite make it. Have they not quite got their structure right in forward line?
Well, they're not aiming for their forward enough, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Got a key forward down there, won't use him.
Umpire's blown the whistle. He's given a free
Holding.
kick to Wilson. Holding. So Adam Donoghue screaming instructions as he just comes off the interchange bench. Ball goes back into their pack. Ryan Rich gets it. Can't hold the mark, but he cleverly gets it through for a rush behind. Takes East Geelong to the lead on 1-3. Inverleigh to the lead on 1-3. East Geelong 1-2. Just on 12 minutes into this Common Nafeen Hotel. First quarter as Alistair Mars again kicks out from fullback. It's a beautiful drop punt looking for McMillan. Gerard runs on it. He's tackled immediately by McMillan. The umpire said, you had it too long, son.
Gone.
And McLennan gets the ball to Andrew. Andrew runs around a long, low drop punt over the recipient. Coming out the back there to grab it for Inverleigh is Templeton. He's kicking to the middle of the ground. Coming through Vesicura, can't handle the ball. It's Love working very hard for Inverleigh. Kicked off the ground, but to no avail. Ryan Rich cleverly across to his teammate there in Belitho. He kicks forward. Vesicura is going to be first there, if not Smith. It's gone past him. Smith's got it now. He runs around right foot into the pocket looking for a teammate. The umpire has deemed that.
Play on.
No, that's a netball whistle.
Play on. Comes back into the pack and coming through strongly there is Grundle for Inverleigh. And he relieving kick finds Jared Young. Centre wing.
Young Jared Young.
Young Jared Young. Kicks back into the middle of the ground and returns serve, and Dalton has the ball back again. So Grundle now at centre half back, kicks it across. Coming out to mark is Robertson for Inverleigh. Drop punt from him going forward, looking for Meehan. Punched away by Fanning, coming through to pick up the crumb. There is Hutchison. Hand pass to Gerard. Gerard finds Matt Tyquin on a lead. 45-degree angle, but only about 35 metres out, maybe 40 from where he kicks. A chance to extend this lead for the Hawks. And that was a nice bit of team play there.
Nice delivery. Better delivery of your team.
Yeah, beautiful football. I've sent the runner out and I've told him, and I'll tell you, I've said it before, he might not quite be as good a kick as his dad, but he's still a beautiful kick, this kid.
And Matt Tyquin, bit tighter than 45 degrees maybe. He kicks along, the umpire off to the right. And disappointingly signals 1 point only for the Inverleigh side. 1-4-10. East Geelong 1-2-8. 14 minutes into the Common Nafeen Hotel first quarter.
Mars doing the kicking in duties this time again, and he goes to the far side. Out there is Lowe. Mark on the chest. He wants to move the ball quickly. It's no options there, so he goes along the boundary line now. Lemper has made position, comes up and takes the mark. And again, just looking at his options further afield. He's got another short one. The kick was bullet-like, went towards his ruckman in McLennan. Couldn't take the mark, but then was taken a little high and will go back and win the free kick. He's pointed the wrong way, the umpire, I hope. Yep, he has. And McLennan will get to his feet now. Takes the kick, goes back towards centre wing, back towards Lowe. Good clean pick up. Needs to get the ball out. And there was a tackle laid on centre wing. It looks like the umpire has got possession of the ball back again. So McLennan doing the ruck work. Wilson's also out there. These blokes will go at it for most of the day. Ball comes down from the contest at ground level. It's tapped forward there by Lemper. Try to keep the ball moving forward. Picked up there again, McLennan. Tackled there. Grundle comes out of the contest with the ball. Kicks the ball around the body, short towards Manganelli. Went back and collected. Got a quick handball out. Did that nicely. Would fan the hands of Burke. Burke over the top. And wouldn't picked up there, but it's kicked forward by Meehan. Back towards Tyquin in the goal square. Shrugs the tackle, goes round the body. And post. He's second behind of the quarter. 1-5 now to Inverleigh. And East Geelong are on that 1-2. And we've gone 15 minutes first quarter. Just need to make sure those are going through the majors. The ball from the fullback position kicks out wide. Rich has taken the mark. And has slowed things down. We'll just slow kick inside and only just marked, I would have thought. Has been taken out there. And Helmore now comes across to clubroom side of the ground, leading the race. The ball is Fanning. Ball runs towards the boundary line, actually runs over the boundary line. And we're going to have a throw-in to take place in front of the Inverleigh coaching box.
Gee, that was a bad kick. You kick it to a bloke 6'8" on a bloke 5'2", and it runs along the ground. You've got to kick that to him in the air.
Just bad delivery so far out of the fence, the Easties. They've got to tidy that up. They've got plenty to go to.
So the ball now from that contest sits underneath a group of players. Templeton says, I can't even get it out of here, so he holds himself up. Ball back with the umpire, so we'll have a ball up which will take place in between half forward and centre wing. McLean, clubroom side of the ground, and Inverleigh's attacking half of the field. So McLennan and Wilson both go at it again. Both of them. Wilson this time, ball comes down. Runs out the back, picked up there by Lowe. McIntyre over the top, went to Lemper, tackled. Good tackle too it was. He actually got boot to ball. Ball comes out, picked up there by Belitho, got the handle away, back to Fanning. He was tackled as he kicked the ball, wasn't effective, goes back, and they try and win possession once again. Again, over the top of the ball is, might have been, was it Helmore? McGrath, was it? It was too. Now it kicks out and goes back into their forward half. Picked up there, McLennan got the handball at the back door, went to McIntyre, handball further across, and they've used the ball nicely through McDonald, go back outside, and they've got a running player out there. Belitho it was, into the hands of Mars. Mars now continues to run, carries through centre wing. McLennan slow to get from the ground.
Whitney Medalist is in trouble.
Yep, and the kick inside is nice to Crombie, and he has marked that centre half forward. We'll go back and have a look at the short kick. He's going to option out wide. Nice position. Mark has been taken out there once again. And I reckon that's Brent McGrath, and he's the bloke that has been a good link-up player for them.
Gee, he don't look too good either.
No, there's no chance he's going back out there.
No.
One contest he was involved in, and immediately that's Finn O'Keefe, who was involved in that heavy crunch with Ruben Vesicuro early.
That's a crack rib, I think.
Yeah, it looked like it. He's sucking them in. Brent McGrath now to line up for goal. And this will again put East Geelong back in front if he kicks truly. About a 20-metre kick, 45-degree angle. Kick starts okay, swings back, and it has gone straight through. McGrath has his first of the afternoon, and the second for East Geelong. They are 2-2. They lead Inverleigh on 1-5. We have gone 18.5. Come on to Fiend Hotel, first quarter scoreboard.
I don't care what football it is, whether it's finals or whether it's a practice match. You'd never, ever leave a bloke sitting there by himself. The defence just got all messed up then, and that's what we said before the game. When Filet plays, that doesn't happen. He's got blokes there.
The great thing is how East Geelong have been trying to kick control out through the defence, and they've finally got one spare on the outside. So they switched the ball. They had a man standing out there on his own, created the one over the top, and again, it just ricocheted all the way down the field. Players coming up, not missing that communication. So if there's a defensive key missing, that's what's caused that goal.
Wilson gets a very good tap out there to Taekwon. Hand passes back to Jared Young, who kicks forward. But marking there for East Geelong is Halmore. Kicks it wide out to the half-back flank. Running up the ground is Oslands. He takes the mark. Kicks over the top looking for Dowsett. Inverleigh have got numbers back. The ball hits the ground, and as did the Inverleigh players, allowing East back into the contest. And the whistle has blown. The boundary umpire that has said, that crossed the line before you kicked it, young fella. I'll have it back. Thank you. So right on centre wing, there'll be a boundary throw in. 14 East Geelong, 11 Inverleigh. 20 minutes now into the Common
Can't
Nafeen
believe
Hotel
they're
first
so
quarter.
polite, those boundary umpires.
That's right. So the ball's thrown in and thrown very well in. Wilson at the front can't get to it, but he gets a hand pass back from a teammate. Little left foot kick, goes forward and finds Robertson for Inverleigh. Little left footer back into the middle. Jared Young is loose. He's played on. Now he's forced to kick somewhat hurriedly into space. Donahue coming out, but Mars has run past him, grabbed the ball on the bounce, bounced as he gets further and further away. Hand passes to Crombie. Crombie back inside to Mars.
Well done.
Donahue did a very good job to follow up, kept pressure on. Mars has got it back again. Hand pass again to Crombie. Quick little left foot kick looking for Smith. Gone past him. Dowsett's got the ball. Can't get it away. Coming through there is Crombie again. He's tackled. Ball bobbles out the back of the pack. Crombie still in there having a crack. Now it's Hoare in there. He can't find a handle on the ball. We'll have a ball up, centre half back.
They nearly buggered that up. The Inverleigh boy came forward. You got to have confidence in the chaser, because as soon as he came forward, they created their own loose man against themselves.
So McGrath goes over the top of Biel, hand passer, but comes out to Taekwon. His kick is smothered. West back into it, but Burke hand passes back to Taekwon. Taekwon across it to Circuit. Circuit's a short kick down. McDonald intercepts. He hand passes to Andrew. Andrew across to McIntyre. Spearing little pass to Crombie. Misses him. Kicked away quickly by Circuit. But Ryan Rich takes another mark. He's a long way from the back line, but he does what he always does well, and that's intercepts. Kicks into the pocket, and McIntyre has made space. He's a long way out for goal. No chance. His little left footer going that far. He'll be looking for an option up forward for certain. Goes for the top of the square. Pack of players up. Smith over the back to Taekwon. Crombie picks up a
free kick to Inverleigh. Too high in the back, whatever you want.
The umpire has paid the free kick, and Matt Taekwon was infringed in that contest. So no score, and Taekwon to relieve. Options are dried up everywhere, so he's gone long. Ryan Rich is underneath it for East. Gets it to the front of the pack to McIntyre. He goes inside. Hand pass comes out to Mulville. He kicks into the middle of the ground and finds the Neville Whitley medalist, Tim McLennan. He runs around on his right foot. Low pass into the forward line, right on the chest of Jake Watson-Searle. And I reckon he's on about the 50-metre arc.
And as you can see, a ruckman with good kicking skills. He's shown that all year, hasn't he, really?
Yeah, he has.
Gee whiz, Smithy, they've certainly, I mean, as much if you've got to play a zone, it's a big ground, but if you don't play your zone tight enough, you leave gaps like that. And the big man, a big ruckman, able to kick in like that, very handy.
So Watson-Searle, very deliberately, that is a beautiful long kick. It is veered off slightly to the left, one behind only. It takes East Geelong to 1-6. 12, East Geelong a 2-3-13. 22 and a half minutes first quarter. Ball into the back pocket.
Did he stuff that up?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I thought so.
We'll let him go.
Inverleigh 1-5-11.
Oh, they were quicker than I was.
2-3-15 to East.
Thank you very much.
Grundle now with the ball. Grundle with the ball now in the back pocket, and He got picked up a few kicks back there this afternoon. Shane, he can probably play spin half back. Ball now, kick towards centre wing. No, I'm just telling him. He's listening to me. He said, don't say that again. But I'm telling him that's where he should be playing. Ball is now to be thrown back in by the umpire. And as I said, McLennan and also Wilson, they'll do the ruck work. As I said, they will call this for most of the day. Ball out the back. McLennan takes the ball out of the ruck. Sold a little bit of candy. Put the Lemper under a bit of pressure. He's got some little bit of time. Looks across the ground. Kick has to be good. And was. Mark is taken out there. Oslands. Oslands got a running player going past Mars, but he ignores him or doesn't go there. Well, now he used him, so they use the spaces, Brucey. And just got to make sure the Inverleigh defence is up to it and the support gets back. So Mars now, his decision is to go short, flat and low into the forward line, runs through the contest and runs through a few legs there, picked up, handball comes back inside to Wilson, Wilson outside, back towards his teammate in Tyke. When he goes outside, little short kick is okay. Brown comes up, well, actually it wasn't any good.
No, it's out in the full.
And it'll be a free kick to East Geelong and Mulvale will be the recipient. Left footer too, so the wrong side for him. But he's going to now put it towards the top of the goal square. Grundle's the only one that's going to fly down there. Actually, it's either through or it's a mark. It's play on, says the umpire. Picked up, Inverleigh run from defence. They move the ball out wide through Condi. Goes out towards centre wing. That's a great kick. Mark will be taken out there. I think it's Burke that pushes up and he has taken the mark. So he set his things down out there near the scoreboard. Over the top he goes. Player leading up is Manganelli. And he will take mark on true centre wing. Looks back inside, kick back inside. Tyquin again. He's getting a few possessions.
He is now.
Yes, he is. He's got Crowley in the middle of the ground, but ignores him. He goes back to the outside, and again, player out there by himself. Mark is taken, and again, they look to settle things down. There's no flow when they get the ball. A little bit stop and prop. Templeton goes short, kicks okay. Mark taken by Love. There's the running player, Manganelli on the left boot. He'll go quickly back towards the forward line. Andrews is back there. Young also. Players tackled, brought to ground, picked up, and it's going to be run through there for some surety.
You'll never learn, will you?
1-6. What's that?
Crawley.
I don't care. Crowley, Crawley. He knows who I'm talking about. Is this Grub? Ah, there he is again. Crawley.
Well done.
He's got like those creepy crawlies, we'll have to call him. The ball goes back inside. There was a great kick, but unfortunately, Meehan couldn't get there. Pick up there, and it's moved there from the goal. He's tackled and brought down there by Manganelli. And he will go back, and he'll have a chance now to shoot for goal.
Don't worry about that, Toby. Just pick the ball up and go back and have your shot. You don't want to give it away.
So Manganelli now from about 35 out, directly in front. Will go back and shoot for goal.
Been very lively, Manganelli. He's been upfield, though, mostly. Finally got a ball inside 50 and now finds himself with an opportunity. Grubby?
Yeah, and he's the bloke from Inverleigh whose pace does worry people.
Yeah.
Not just to get to the ball, but as you saw then, he's closing down pace is very good.
So Manganelli now to step in and kicks from 35 directly in front. It is holding. No, it's not. He has missed it. He has pushed it across. And another costly miss for the Inverleigh side. They now move to 1-7. And East Geelong on 2-3. We have gone 26.5. Commonwealth Hotel, first quarter scoreboard.
The siren has sounded to show East Geelong 2-point leaders at quarter time. 2-3-15, Inverleigh 1-1-7. Goal kickers, Dale.
Yes, to this stage, Jakes, Watson, Searle and McGrath are the goal kickers for East Geelong. The solitary one for Inverleigh is Casey Meehan. As we said, we'll take a short break, come back, and we will have second quarter action here from the Gordon Tafe Oval. You're listening to 94.7 The Pulse, your home of local football.
The second quarter, brought to you by Buckwheat Entertainment Centre.
GDFNL, second semi-final here at the Gordon Tafe Oval. East Geelong versus Inverleigh. The East Geelong side have a 2-point advantage. Opposition coaches Andrew Bewes and Richard Grubby Cations. Go at it, boys. What happened?
Well, I enjoyed the quarter. The scoreboard probably doesn't tell the story that it was a pretty good quarter. Yes, there was nerves, and yes, there was East coming out of attack early, not kicking it very well, and then Inverleigh did the same. But I thought it was a very, very entertaining game. The only thing is, when you have that many shots for goal in a quarter against what East had, you probably would believe you should be in front, because they did ruin it a little bit. Tyke wouldn't go down there. He's not going to spend, unless he is injured, he's not going to spend a lot of time down there. So when he goes there, he's got to kick goals. He kicked 2 points, which probably wasted his little entertainment down there. But look, a really good quarter. I thought he was okay. Byle was okay. Muir come out of defence pretty well. Wilson in the ruck's been good. Garrard had a few nice little touches. Manganelli was okay. Lowe was great early for East Geelong. Smith looks dangerous. Andrew hasn't had a lot of the ball, but he looks dangerous when he gets it. Mars pretty good in the back line. Watson Searles had a couple of shots at goal. Fanning all right. Dowsett as usual. McLennan, I'm putting him in the best players in that quarter because I still think it's a great battle, and we're going to see that all day. And I think Ryan Rich was pretty good too, Busey.
Yeah, look, I've really enjoyed the game. It's been a real, it's been a bit of a sparring match. There hasn't been a great deal of flow. I remember you saying that during the quarter, and we haven't had that where there's been a team being able to just trounce their way down from full length of the field. There's a lot of field to play in, and they're using every square metre out on the field. But it's just not, they're not transferring it into goals. The thing I've loved about it was Mars being a great runner out of defence. He's been creating a lot more. They're better with their run than they are with their by foot passing. So they're missing out there. They're giving the ball back to the Inverleigh boys. Inverleigh boys not capitalising. So they've had the opportunities, haven't quite cashed in. I think East have been very, very good with their kick control. They've managed to poke their way up through the defence and find their way inside 50 and get a couple of goals. If
the wind is blowing that way, like the seconds told me, the flags don't really tell it. If the wind is blowing that way and Inverleigh didn't kick straight in that quarter, are they in a little bit of trouble if East get hold of them this quarter?
Could be, but I looked at that last week and I was watching Bell Post and I thought, well, they're going to have a ripping third quarter. Well, West had a say in that, and they kicked goals against the breeze, going the other way. And I don't know whether it's not that day where we're going to have a hurricane come through and dictate the game. I think their skills of both sides have been pretty evident through the midfield. It's only when their connection kicks inside 50 or exiting 50 have been the ordinary ones.
We've seen Inverleigh a few times over the last few weeks, and I thought their tackling was a bit off, but they're tackling pretty well and pretty hard today.
Got some big bodies out there, and they're enjoying it, aren't they?
Yep.
We saw that intent early when poor Finn, what's his surname?
O'Keefe.
Copped a very, very, a tough brutal collision, but
looks like it's his shoulder too.
It does look like his shoulder, and I don't know whether he'll be back either. Grubby, you got any news on that?
Well,
Spies?
Buck Donoghue said he was going to come back on.
Well, he did for 7 seconds, so I don't think we'll see him again.
As he walked past us here, I looked at him and I thought he's in trouble. But it was a fair bump, and yet it looks to me like he's got concussion. So to us it looked fair, but I think they'll have a look at it on the video just in case.
Yeah, I don't think he'll have a case to
No,
answer.
I don't, but
they'll
look
at it. Good,
at
honest battle, mate. That's what we come to see. Good, honest battles.
No running past any ball, so that's all right. Let it go.
Yeah, although, technically, I don't think he had his eyes on the ball, but that's by the by. But they will have a look at it.
Ball was in the immediate vicinity. That's what they were going for.
Well, it didn't look like to us that it hit him in the head, but I've seen a lot of times when you watch the video, and especially with his concussion, who knows, there may be some contact to the head, maybe.
I can explain a bit how concussion works, but we're going to need another hour for that.
Yeah.
So the ball is in the air, and Ruckman go at it once again. McLennan tries to take it. It's Tyquin who emerges with it, gives the handball off, and it's into the hands of Love, and he goes quickly into the forward line. Man's out, couldn't take the mark. Manganelli front square. And there is a free kick being given, and it's chopping of the arm. So Casey Meehan, he goes quickly. Donoghue at the ball, out in front, and that's good delivery inside. Good hands, and Donoghue to go back now and kick for goal.
That's better movement by Inverleigh, out of the middle. A couple of nice deliveries inside, and players on the end of it. So good start by Inverleigh.
Not too many better kicks for goal on this boy.
Oh, you bloody hell. He's just mozzed him.
So Donahue now to kick from about 40, I would think, and he steps in. Looks to load up. Lucky it wasn't quarter time siren.
Let's play on
there.
there. What a
straight
goal.
through the middle. That is a good start to the second quarter. They have the first, and they move to 2-7. They lead East Geelong on 2-3. We've only gone 54 seconds. Buckley's Entertainment second quarter scoreboard.
Well, I tell you what, a kick from that far out, Busey, on this ground tells me that the wind should play no part in it.
At all. You wouldn't think so. I mean, the flags are drooping on the other side. We've got a flag right behind us here. It's got coffee written on it. But, gee, I tell you, I'll be keen for it. But it is only a light zephyr, we'll say. Beautiful kick by Buck. Yeah. Wonderful kick.
As suggested.
The old man here?
Haven't
He'll be here somewhere.
Yeah, as suggested. You better put the moz on some of Busey's players too later on in the game, if you don't mind.
Well, I will. Don't you worry about that. You reckon Big Laz will be over on the far side of the ground somewhere?
Drinking cans.
Wilson and McLennan. McLennan gets it down, but it's taken out of Lemper's hands. McLennan himself comes in and follows up. Cordner-Mast can't get it. McLennan's got it a third time. This time he's tackled, not going anywhere. The umpire will finally come in and blow the whistle for a ball up, and he should have done that about 7 seconds ago.
You got a bloke in the team of the year, Busey, and Ryan Lemper. You need to lift a bit.
Yes, he's been quiet. Up in the McLennan again. Can't. Lemper overruns that again. Circuit's got it. He's tackled to the ground by Cordner-Mast. Now, that's the thing that annoys me. The umpire should have blown the whistle so much earlier because no one was going anywhere there. So frustrating.
We see that a fair bit.
We do. So up the big fellas go again. McLennan again to McIntyre. Beautiful hand pass to Lowe, and he's found Crombie on his own, a long way on his own half-forward flank. Young Ben Crombie's really impressed us this year. A long kick into the forward pocket looking for Smith. He's out in front, can't hold the mark. Pressure from Cations. Smith's got it back though, but the umpire's blown a whistle, and he says the ball's been thrown.
Incorrect disposal, yep.
And,
I reckon that too. Either that was a very quick handball.
Billy Cations for Inverleigh will take the free kick in the back pocket. It was Dowsett who infringed with that neat little transfer of the ball to Smith.
Is it a flick pass, Dale?
Yeah.
Crow throw.
So
one-handed, I reckon they do.
Cations kicks long and low down the half-forward flank. Looking for Crawley. He can't take the mark. Comes out the back of the pack. Players are desperately trying to get hold of it. He isn't going anywhere, and I think we'll have another ball up. 60 metres out from the East Geelong goal. They are currently 4 points in arrears of Inverleigh. We've just gone past 3 minutes. Player tackled immediately. Not going anywhere again. I think the umpires are going to be busy throwing it in and pulling it up. This is a common thing in this fiercely contested football. Wilson over the top, but it's Cordner-Mast for East Geelong who picks that crumb up, kicks it back into the hot spot. Jack Watson-Searle comes out, can't control the ball, bobbles out towards the boundary line, very cleverly knocked over the line and deliberately.
No, not cleverly enough.
And Bial was the offender there. It was pretty obvious what he was about. He must have thought the umpire was out of view, but he nailed him immediately. It looks like McGrath for East Geelong has the kick.
A little bit of Three Stooges there, a little bit of no.
Yeah, there was a bit. He's going to be about 35 metres out when he kicks. Very tight angle, Brent McGrath. So coming in deliberately, he's got a lot of goals for his team this year. Playing as a high half forward. Ball leaves the boot. A horrible looking helicopter. The umpire runs across to the right. One behind only. 2-4-16, Inverleigh 2-4-19, 4.5 minutes into the Buckley's Entertainment second quarter here at St Albans. This time coming up with his Templeton. He kicks low looking for Crawley. Smith's got a hand on it. Got it out of pace. Vesekuru can't get away. Coming through there is Bial. He gets it to Grozdanovski. Kicks down the line and Dalton Grundle has come up and marked right on centre wing in front of us. Little stabbing pass looking for Casey Meehan. He's up in the front, can't quite hold it. Manganelli's got it though. Jaden Fanning comes in, intercepts that hand pass. Back to Oslands by hand. Oslands to Helmore, back to Oslands. Middle of the ground, it's Belitho. He can't get hold of the ball. Tackled very quickly. Inverleigh defender there, a forward player, sorry, not going anywhere. Umpire comes in and will ball it up.
Was that Helmore? Good tackle. Really good tackle.
Love the last one up with the ball. So McLennan and Wilson have physically worked their way up the ground to get to this contest. Wilson's the winner, gets it across to Love. His left footer goes over into the hot spot, but coming out to take an easy mark is Helmore for East Geelong. He misses his target, Mars, but he's been supported by McIntyre. Gets the hand pass from Mars, looking for a short kick down the line, and coming up is Belitho, who's makes some really good room for his teammate. So they're underneath the scoreboard, far side of the ground. He's come back inside, kicked straight across to Helmore, who's back at almost true centre half back.
Still very chess-like too, isn't it, Rob?
Yes, very much so. Little kick across, back to Belitho. He finds McIntyre in the middle of the ground. Another short kick from him, misses Rich. He can't get the hand pass. It's Vesakuru who gets the ball. Hand passes it back into nowhere. Ooh. Overrun is McLennan. Jared Young kicks forward, looking for Meehan. He can't hold it as it bounces on the half volley. Dowsett comes across for East Geelong. He's found some pace. Sam Lowe's found space. He's got an easy mark. Lowe runs into the forward line, runs his full measure, kicks low to Watson Searle, and he takes a mark about 40 metres out on a 45-degree angle. And we'll go back to line up for his second goal for the afternoon. Yes.
He did it again, Big Wilson. Let the bloke chase him, because as soon as you go to him, they've created a loose man in Sam Lowe and they're having a shot for goal. Let the bloke chase.
So Watson Searle kicks just fading away to the right, to the left. Sorry, one behind only. They go to 2-6, 2-5. Scoreboard's very quick. 2-5-17 Inverleigh, 2-7-19. 7.5 minutes into the Buckley's Entertainment second quarter.
Cason's now doing the kicking in from that fullback position. As I said, there's players wide. Condy looks like he's going to be the target. That's the direction he comes, and it's going to be a wide kick.
He's got it.
Oh, I don't know. He just got it just inside the line there.
Two boundary umpires both said yes, so I'm going with that.
That's all right. That's what they're there for. Cason's now with Condy playing on. He's going to bring the ball back towards centre wing. Rich in front, doesn't take the mark, but out the back, it was taken out of his hands, into the hands of Cordner Mars, back to Mars. Mars now, he goes back to the half-forward line. Vesakuro's in front. Condy from behind brings the ball to ground and over the boundary line, and it's going to be thrown back in. Busey, at this level of football, do we use that short kick in defence too much? Back into dangerous spots?
Well, when it doesn't work, it looks terrible. When it comes off, it looks great. So high risk, high reward, but vice versa.
Big risk, yep.
Yep.
Ball out the back into the hands of Lowe once again. Got the handball away. Went as far as Love. Love goes outside. Went to Robertson. Robertson to his teammate there, and the ball into the hand now of Hutchison. Usually a good delivery of the ball. Gets out the back. Ball running free. Going back below. They got the handball away. Mars is back there once again. He stops. Props. Bring the ball back towards centre wing. Lowe from behind. Ball comes down towards Meehan. Tries to fend off. Tackled. Brought to ground. Umpire, how will he see it? Holding the ball.
The fend off is your prior opportunity.
So
no worries.
Free kick there, and it's going to go to Harris Monaghan. He gets to his feet very quickly, plays on, and he's kicked it straight out of bounds on the full, so it's going to go straight back again, and Jared Love will be the recipient. So Love now picking the ball up, and he's got a little bit of time to look up, survey the field. Ryan Robinson short wants it, but now he decides he'll go a little bit longer. Down the boundary line. Andrews up over, didn't take the mark. Handball comes back outside to Monaghan once again, puts boot the ball, goes back towards centre wing. Ball again over the boundary line, and it will be thrown back in once again.
Smithy, I'll just qualify that too. If you've got players that can kick that ball, you give them licence to do it. If they can't do it, don't do it. Just go down the line.
But because it happens at senior level, at AFL level, it's always the third or fourth one that always brings you unstuck. That's what I think you've got to clear the area. But anyway, ball picked up. Melvale goes back outside to McLennan, steps and kicks around the boundary line. Coming up, Mark Wool wasn't taken there by McGrath. Ball goes over the boundary line. So we will have a throw-in once again. Pretty close to where we sit.
I reckon the coaches, even at AFL level, get a little bit worried about players playing on instinct and worried that they can't I think that could be an issue.
So the ball thrown back in. The front position taken there by McLennan. Actually, ball hit the ground. Comes out of the contest now. McLennan went after it once again. They got their head over the
Solid.
ball. Tyquin came through. Didn't take clean possession. Picked up Robertson. Gave it back to Tyquin. Gets his way through the contest now and kicks back into the middle of the ground. Meehan in front. Spoil from behind. Ball comes to ground. Who arrives first? Gerard did. Couldn't pick the ball up. Oslands is with him. Good tackle. Gerard brings him to ground. High sits the umpire. Free kick going to East Geelong. So Oslands to his feet very quickly, kicks across the ground. That kick didn't come off the boot that well. He's got Grundle there, who's very, very quick. Oh, that was a little bit high. And in the hands of Lemper. Didn't go behind the mark, but he's allowed to go on now by the umpire. Plays on and kicks long into the forward line. Coming up, looking towards Hall. Ball bounces, and nicely worked there from Crawley. Takes the ball over the boundary line, and it will be thrown back in.
Grubby, the big ground, sometimes people, because there's space, they use it.
Yeah.
Sometimes don't use the space.
You don't need to always use it. You're dead right.
Come up at the ball carrier.
Yeah.
So ball thrown back in. This time McGrath doing the ruck work. Byell from behind. Ball comes down. Picked up there. Andrew got round the first one. Little short kick into the pocket is good and has Mitch Hoare. And he will go back from the forward pocket. Well, he kicks towards goal. He's in range.
Well, they've missed a couple of easy ones out in front, Dale, so every chance this one's right on the boundary probably goes straight through.
So Hoare now, he's going back to kick towards goal. As I said, we can't see him just as yet. Now he steps inside. That didn't come off the boot that well. It's actually probably won't even score at all, and it hasn't. Out of bounce on the full. So free kick going to Cations in the back pocket. Cations will have to... plenty of Inverleigh plays this side of the ground. That's where he's going to come. Ball in front. Mark is not taken. Picked up Andrews. He's tackled. Brought to ground very quickly. Umpire said there was no prior opportunity there. So we will have a ball up. So Andrews hands the ball back to the umpire now. So McLennan and Wilson both to be going at it once again. McLennan up over the top. Ball goes back towards the boundary line. Andrew tries to run onto it, but again beats him over the boundary line, and we'll have another throw in which will take place. So we got a close contest. 12 and a half gone. Only 2 points separating the sides. Accuracy are probably a concern on both at the moment. Handball comes out, goes to Cordner Mars, steps around one, got the handball back outside, back to Hoare. A little banana from where he is last time, and this time he has made amends, and he has put it straight through the middle. That's their third of the afternoon. They move to 3-5, lead Inverleigh on 2-7, and we're approaching 13 minutes. Buckley Entertainment Centre, second quarter scoreboard.
The big fella Wilson wasn't too happy there. He reckoned he got held off and pushed on the contest and gave McLennan a good run at the ball, but, oh, geez, you go in for them banana kicks and they can go anywhere, but that was a little beauty.
Oh, so do we call that a check side? Is that a South Australian check side?
Well, we don't call check side in here, Busey. Thanks.
It was a Malcolm Blight thing. Sorry, it just comes out. It's a little bit ingrained. But I think that was a magnificent little 1-2 handball, well set up after a throw-in mishap, and capitalising. East, I reckon, dominating inside front half, I reckon, Whale.
Yep. And we'll stick to banana, if you don't mind.
McLennan waits down on the ground, wins the tap, but it's been sharked by Dalton Grundle. His hand pass across is picked up by Grozdanovsky, kicks forward. No one can get first hand at the ball, but Jared Young has got the ball onto his foot very quickly, slapped it forward, and Paddy Burke read that beautifully. First out, and he will have a shot for goal directly in front. About 30 metres out. He's been a very productive half forward. Not so much today, but his game last week was pretty good, and he's had a great second half of the year. So the little fella from Terang comes in, a long, low drop punt. His teammates love it. He loves it. And that gets them back into the lead. 3-7-26, East Geelong 3-5-23. I think that's 14-minute mark on the Eric Nichols clock in the Buckley's Entertainment second quarter.
Jared Young, great kick or a little bit of luck?
Oh, a lot of luck, because Ryan Rich coming in at full steam, front on. Really hard to smother that one. Players, we used to coach that. We tried to get them to come front on and be able to smother the ball. It's a really tough one to get to come off, because you firstly don't want to be kicked, and secondly, it's all happening so quickly.
So ball back in the middle, thrown up by the umpire. McLennan up over the top. Young's back in the middle now. Picked up out there. Robertson got the handball away. Went only as far as McIntyre. Tries to force himself on the ball. Did over the top. Sits over it now. How will the umpire see it? He circles.
Ball it up.
But he says, no, it's coming back to me. So we'll have another ball up to take place.
I think
Not
that's
far
fair
out of that
enough
centre
too,
circle.
Smithy. I don't think
Yep.
he dragged it in.
Yeah,
I like that. Umpires are doing a pretty good job, actually.
So the ball thrown up again. The ball comes out of that contest, picked up on the half. That ball's kicked back into the middle of the ground. That was by Mulvale into the hands there of Crombie. Got the handball, the running player, and McIntyre. He goes into the forward line. Watson Searle comes out. Couldn't take it cleanly. Picked up out there. Handball, put some teammates under pressure. That was good clean hands out there from Crombie once again. Got the handball outside. Running plays. He went back and collected it a third time. And now it's in the hands of Watson Searle. He is taken to ground. Umpire again, without prior opportunity, has to ball it up. And that's what he'll do right on the 50-metre arc. East Geelong back at their attacking end. So the umpire throws the ball up quickly. Again, both Ruckman, or actually both Ruckman, it was the centre-half back and centre-half forward that went at it. Ball goes into their forward line and over the boundary line. This time we'll have a throw-in to take place about 10 round from behind post.
You'd be happy with the three young blokes, Busey, Crombie, Mulvale and McDonald. Have all had a little bit of the ball. It'll be the first big final for them.
Crombie's been very busy.
And McGrath, Ruckman go at it, taken out of that contest. Lemper took control of the ball, but a good strong tackle there by Bial. And we're going to have a ball up to take place. 25 out from goal. So Bial and McGrath still doing the ruck work. Thrown up, and again, ball from the contest. Watson Searle on that left boot. Can he bring it back far enough? No, he won't. Actually, nowhere near far enough. Out of bounds on the full free kick going to Inverleigh. And Billy Cations will take that from behind the behind post.
Here's a question for all these. Do they take blokes off these days when they're not playing well, or do they just rely solely on rotation?
Hardly take them off for playing poorly.
Yeah.
They don't have enough time to really, and you need those rotations running, so you've got your fit players, your on-ballers getting good rest.
So Cations now has no one on the mark, so he plays on. Kicks outside 50, out towards low. Ball wasn't marked by that player. Circuit trying to force his way through. Free kick, will it be given? No. Andrews over the top, needs to get rid of it. The umpire is circling, giving him plenty of time, and he is going to be
now he
pinned.
is.
So free kick will go to Ryan Robertson. Got the handball outside to Wilson. Wilson, a little short kick, back towards centre wing. Kick was not well directed. Mark coming up there. Here's Monaghan. Back in the side this afternoon from the last time they played. So Monaghan now just weighing up his options forward of the contest. Looks to the side and go long to the half-forward line. Mark not taken at ground level. Picked up there. Robinson once again got the handball back inside. Condi went to Young. Young outside. Got running player out there. And again, that is Burke. Burke on the right boot. Goes over the top. Will find Meehan in a little bit of space. Got round the player coming out of him. Looked back inside towards Donoghue. In front. Couldn't take the mark. And umpire said there's a free kick there. I'm not too sure. Was it?
Oh, dear me.
I'm not sure he got that right, but I'll tell you what, they haven't got many wrong. But this one could be a very, very important one.
Somebody made the photo mistake a couple of minutes ago saying the umpire's doing a good job.
Well, except for blokes like myself, most of them do make mistakes. But then again, I might look at that on the video tonight or tomorrow, and you might see it chopping to the arms. We are a long way away.
So Donoghue now from a position in distance to where he kicked his last goal from, steps in, kicks that goal, and that looks pretty good off the boot. It looks straight through the middle. Donoghue has his second and the fourth now for Inverleigh. They are 4-7. They lead East Geelong on 3-5. 18.5 gone. Buckley's Entertainment Centre, second quarter scoreboard.
Again, in a game that's sort of scrappy and going from... It was a great transition down the ground that time, and they hit targets all the way down. Might have been a bit lucky in the end, but if you put it out in front of the blokes, they're a big chance.
Yeah, you've got to make your own luck. And if you're in front, first to move, and that's where Buck is at his best. And you then have to defend and take the risk of chopping the arm. So, unfortunately, went against East from my point of view, because I'm the coach of the East boys. But really well done. Nice transition piece of play. Starting to open up a little bit this game.
Who's in the ruck?
It's Grundle up against McLennan. McLennan wins comfortably. Taps it down to his own advantage, but Grundle very strongly gives him a don't argue, pushes down him away, but he can't get away from the pack. The ball has come out towards Inverleigh's attacking zone, but East Geelong seem to be the ones that have done most of the work to get it out there, paddling it along in front of them. But eventually the umpire says, that's going nowhere, we'll have a ball up.
Well, there's the answer to your question. Grundle's the guy that goes in for the replacement of the big guy.
Yep.
So McLennan on his own, beautiful hand tap down to McIntyre, to Lowe back to McIntyre, and his short pass finds Dowsett inside the centre square. East trying to mount something else here. Long, low, flat drop punt. Watson Searle marks on a long lead. He's still inside the square. He's looking for Hoare. He comes out, can't hold the mark. Brown wins possession. He's tackled immediately, forced to hand pass nowhere. Inverleigh get to the ball though. It's coming out to Templeton. Templeton kicks out wide to Gerard. He can't. I almost got a stat there, Busey. The ball bounced up into the commentary box.
I would have spoiled.
Be the first time for everything.
I would have reached across and just put a little fist into that one.
So we've got a boundary throw in right in front of our commentary position here at the Gordon Tafe Oval. Thrown in McLennan and Grundle. Grundle double fists that one down. Circuit is first there. He hits hand pass, misses the target. Lemper comes in, does a very good job. Cordner-Mars, he's tackled immediately, picks the ball up. The umpire will certainly ball that up.
Is that a problem from a bloke coming at a different level? He handballed to where he thought his teammate would be, and the teammate wasn't there.
Can be. And you know, like getting used to each other still. It's only one season in.
Love is dispossessed. The umpire said that he did that illegally. And John McIntyre for East Geelong will take the free kick. They're just on their attacking side of the centre. Still going to be 2 kicks towards goal. That kick's gone forward for East Geelong. Coming over the backpack. Cordner-Mars has been grabbed round the throat.
Oh, turn it up.
He didn't get a free kick?
No.
The umpire said no prior opportunity, probably because he couldn't breathe, but it doesn't matter. He's going to have. He's going to be underneath a ball.
Must have been
now.
on the wrong side.
So McIntyre and McGrath and Grundle. Grundle does a very good job coming out there, having a quick shot at goal. Was McGrath. It's missed to the left. Another behind takes him to 3-7. Oh, I can't. That scoreboard's quicker than me. It might be 3-6.
It is 3-6.
Inverleigh 4-7-31. We're 22 minutes into the Buckley's Entertainment second quarter. Templeton kicks out again. Great mark to Grozdanovsky. He's immediately off. Kicks a long drop punt looking for Casey Meehan. Punched away cleverly by Jaden Fanning. Did a really good job there out of position.
Wow.
Put a fist where he thought the ball was going to land on Meehan's chest.
Was going to mark it. Then you thought, well, he's going to give away a free kick for running the wrong way, and he did it beautifully.
Very, very good job indeed. So another boundary throw in. McLennan and Grozdanovsky this time. McLennan can't really get the ball away. McIntyre's been a very, very good player for East. He works the ball out, gets it to the advantage of McLennan. He goes backwards again to Mulvale. Mulvale to Lemper.
Well done.
And Lemper kicks down the line, but it's gone over the back of McGrath and has been marked by Alex Brown. He kicks into the middle of the ground, finds the running Crawley. He's straight away off. Long, low drop punt looking for Donahue. He's up. That was probably a free kick.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
And Donahue will receive that free kick. Quickly forward looking for Meehan. Strong hands from him. That'll be a marker, a free kick. He's 55 metres out.
I'll be in the back of Busey.
45-degree angle. Casey Meehan will be probably looking for the hot spot if he can't find a lead. That's where he's going. Kicks into centre half forward, looking for the lead of Paddy Burke. And Burke's taken a mark about 40 metres out directly in front.
Gee, that was a good kick.
And you know why it was a good kick? Because the stand rule allows a player to get plenty of metres and steady properly and get good momentum into that kick. And that's a beautiful piece of play. Was that Danny Meehan?
Casey
Meehan, sorry. Yeah,
he's just starting to get a bit better in here. Come grand final, if they're there, he could be dangerous.
So Paddy Burke already scored this afternoon. That one is long and off to the right, one behind only. Casey Meehan's a bit of a star out at the Keith Barclay Oval during the summer, Busey. Great cricketer out at North Geelong.
He wouldn't get a game with us.
I reckon he would if you saw his last innings. So East Geelong have the ball now. I reckon it's Belitho kicks a very long down the line. Ooh. Players up. Ball's punched over the back of the pack. Osland's been pushed onto the ball by Burke. The umpires said that's out of bounds. I thought Burke was lucky to get away with that.
And you take that every time. That's a beautiful clearance. You know, well outside 50, not an opportunity. Throw in, even money bet now.
So East Geelong 8 points in arrears, and we're coming up to the 25-minute mark of the second quarter. It's the Buckley's Entertainment second quarter here at Gordon Tafe. Wilson tried to get it out of the ruck. McIntyre's got it again. He's tackled. Ball comes back to Robertson. He kicks low into the middle of the ground. Finds Wilson. Wilson's got Burke on his own half-forward flank. He marks play perfectly. A beautiful, long, flat drop punt straight into the arms of Adam Donoghue. 30 metres out directly in front. That was great team play by the Hawks.
Well, it was, and I think Ali Mars, he realised that there was another couple of Inverleigh players on their own down there, and his first movement was to go to them. Just let your other defenders worry about them. You stay on the bloke that may well win the game for him.
That's typical product. I'll let you call this one through, Smithy.
So Donoghue now to kick from about 25 out, directly in front of goal. Loads up, goes straight, and that is third for the quarter. And they're fifth now for Inverleigh. They're 5-8. They lead East Geelong on 3-6. As we said, we've gone 26 minutes. Buckley Entertainment Centre, second quarter scoreboard.
Symptomatic of zoning off. You know, like as a good defender, you can get a little carried away with the team defence and miss those opportunities. Stay with the most dangerous forwards. And that instance there, you cannot leave that gentleman standing out in the middle of the ground but that ball movement, the turnover, that was where that was won. That was where that goal was scored, was a turnover after that throw-in.
So back in the middle of the ground now. Wilson will rejoin Tim McLennan for this really important clearance. It's probably only a couple of minutes to half time.
I don't think you need me, you blokes. He's doing too good a job using them.
So ball in the middle of the ground, picked up out there. Handball comes out the back, went towards Wilson, picked up McIntyre, got the handball over the top to Cordner Mars, into the hands of Crombie. Now to Dowsett from the truce and half forward position, goes long. Crowley
There's
going
a free
back.
kick, there's a Holden free kick to Vesakuru. I saw it.
And it's going to be a free kick, and I reckon this will be right on the siren. It won't be too much longer to go.
And cannot miss.
We said that at Belpost Hill.
Cannot miss.
So Vesakuru steps in, and I'll tell you what, he snuck it in, but only just. And that is the fourth goal for East Geelong. They're 4-6. They trail Inverleigh on 5-8. 27 gone. Buckley's Entertainment Centre, second quarter scoreboard.
To be so close and draw away, how important was that goal?
Oh, very, very, very close and very important. But the funny thing is, this game hasn't been, as you said earlier, there's been no flow, and still no flow, no great flow. Opportunities have been created just through probably a bit more will than anything else. But there's been no run, no overlap. It's been chip. It's been a very patient game of football.
So 8-point lead now to Inverleigh. Coming in the shadows of the second quarter. They've got it out this time, the Hawks. Jared Love gets it out of the centre, kicks it forward, punched very well from behind by McDonald. That's a push in the back to
that's a good bump. What are you talking about?
But it's come out the back to Hutchison. He's trying to break through. The umpire said that you had it too long, son, I reckon. And the free kick is going to go to Andrew of East Geelong. So Billy Andrew impressed us very much last time. Kicks across and finds Alistair Mars. He goes down the centre wing and finds Brent McGrath with a lovely, lovely pass. He's true centre wing, pretty close to the boundary line, far side of the ground. Short kick in. Ben Crombie's been very impressive today, the youngster. He has the ball just forward of centre. Another short kick from him, looking for and finding Ryan Rich, who's come down from defence. So there's still about 70 metres around from the goal. Rich is a bit of an up and under 9-iron drop punt into the pocket. Punched away from the pack. Dowsett can't get it. It's Bial who quickly kicks it away for Inverleigh. Hutchison tried to get it. Lemper picks up a crumb. Hand passes inside to Belitho. Back to Mars. Mars hand passes back to Lemper. It's come back to Mars again. He's quick across the side of the ground. Ryan Gerard grabs it for Inverleigh. He's released. Tycoon with a hand pass. He kicks further down and Burke's come out and taken a mark inside the centre square. Still on East Geelong side. That is definitely 50
that's 50.
Metres.
That's 50.
That's been missed by the umpire. Sam Lowe just wandered aimlessly through there and wasn't spotted. Love's kicked down the line looking for me, and Helmore again does a very good job. McDonald takes the ball over the line. Hard to imagine how you could miss that.
Well, that was nearly a Jimmy Steins. He nearly went through. He was that close.
Yeah, it was extraordinary. He missed that. Sam Lowe just had a little sleepy moment there. The ball's thrown in McLennan and Wilson. McLennan gets it down to Cordner Mars. He can't control the ball. Billy Andrew has picked it up, but forced over the line, there'll be a boundary throw in.
He was about 4 deep in the crowd when he kicked that.
He was just starting to get balance, got a little bit of a push in the side and careered over the boundary line before he could kick it. So we got another throw in. That's a long, deep one. It's Wilson who pulls it out of the ruck himself. Quickly kicks forward, punched away from Burke. But Dowsett's going to be first there. Nice favourable bounce. He would want to get rid of this really quickly. Right on the half-time siren in the middle.
He was going to pay that.
Was it?
Dalton Grundle just got a hand on Dowsett as he tried to settle after the first bounce. So it's half-time here. Inverleigh 5-8-38. North Geelong are 4-6-30. Dale Smith, who's kicked the goals?
Yeah, goal kicks at this stage of the game. All singles for the East Geelong side. We got Hoare, Watson, Searle, McGrath and Vesakuru. And for Inverleigh, Donahue with 3, Burke and Meehan, their solitary goal kickers. Take a short break, come back. Second half action here from Gordon Takeover. You're listening to 94.7 The Pulse, your home of local football.
If you're an adult
the
Yeah, I'm
third
ready.
quarter.
We're ready.
Brought to you by De Granby's Sports and Cycles.
Welcome back to the GDFNL second semi-final at Gordon Tafe Oval. East Geelong versus Inverleigh. Inverleigh are leading 38-30 at this stage. The two experts have gone. So Dale Smith, you are the resident expert. How have you enjoyed it so far?
Oh, good, Rob. I've really enjoyed it, but that's all right. Look, as I said, it's probably a game where, look, if Inverleigh in that first quarter had a kick straight, the difference might have been obviously blown right out to where it is currently. But again, both sides have had their little moments in the game. I just don't know whether they've actually taken full advantage of their time with the ball. So it'll be interesting to see how they go in this second half, because as I said, this third quarter is usually an important game of football. So if East Geelong, we believe, may be kicking into that bit of a slight breeze, if that's the case, and if they can hold things out there and set themselves up to be a similar margin to where they are now at three-quarter time, they probably have that little slight advantage coming home. But again, it's one of those games where you think it's going to open up, and someone's going to take full control of it. But again, the scoreboard, they're not putting that pressure on the scoreboard. And if they can start to do that, then obviously the result can change fairly quickly.
Interesting conversation pre-match with Grubby and Busey about the game, whether it's soft or it's still hard. Busey's very much a fan of the attack on the foot. He's no different to what it's ever been. And about 50 seconds later, right in front of us, we saw exactly that, but it's cost Finn O'Keefe any further part in the game. He looks like he's done some damage to a shoulder on what was a pretty fair but brutal bump by Ruben Vesicuru from East Geelong. Yeah,
look, as I said, football's going to deal those up at different stages during the course of it. And as I said, it's good to see both players went hard at the ball. It's obviously something else when it doesn't quite work. But as I said, Finn O'Keefe, the good thing is he's up and he's about. He has sustained injury. I don't think he'll take any further part this afternoon, and I don't suppose you want to risk him either. So it's probably one of those situations where you just let him sit back and abide his time on the bench today. And hopefully, as I said, Inverleigh get through and he gets 2 weeks to recover and put himself back into contention in a couple of weeks' time.
Grubby's returned with a Christmas hamper.
I told KO, I said, Rob Cameron and Busey didn't come in. Can you make a plate up for them? Good on you, KO, stooged.
Beautifully done. Busey, you found a coffee. You're happy?
I'm very happy.
The only thing you were looking for at the start of the game. Dale Smith, get us away. Oh, you got to...
no, I was just having a look.
Get off to the hunt.
I was just having a look at one of the results there, but the ball back in the middle, as we said, Wilson this time over the top. Tycoon knocks it further afield, goes towards the half-forward line for them, picked up there. I'm not too sure, might have been Circuit, tried to kick the ball very quickly, didn't win possession of it. Comes out of the contest, Gerard picks the ball up, goes by hand, has Crowley. He's taken in a tackle, picked up by Lemper through the middle of the ground, looking for a handball outside, had McLennan. He stops and waits, looking for some options, decides that he just better kick the ball forward, and Grosdanovsky going back has taken the mark. So Mick Gros now, half-back line for Inverleigh. He's got to play short, and again, this time he's not going to look at that option. He's going to go longer, back over centre wing, back towards Grundle. There's a holding decision. Which way is it going? I wouldn't put my hand up that quickly, Dolt. I would have thought that might have been...
Grubby's favourites got it.
Yep. So Sam Lowe, the recipient, he looks back into the middle of the ground and has McIntyre in space by himself. Gerard from behind doesn't affect the tackle. He plays on now, goes looking towards Dowsett, got a favourable bounce, stepped in and out of trouble. No, actually put himself back into trouble. Lemper now runs himself around, goes back to Dowsett, little bit of space, time. Kicked the ball probably quicker than he thought he had to. Over the top, the ball bounces, goes now, picked up out the back by Condi, goes outside. That's a great kick straight into the hands of Manganelli, who presents up, and at the ball goes short this time to Love. Love can't take the mark, had a chance to go back and collect it. Belitho takes the ball. Boom. He's tackled, brought to ground. Sling, says the umpire, and it's going to be a free kick going to Belitho, and he's going to get to his feet very quickly. And he goes quickly into the forward line. McGrath's the target. Ball gets through the contest. Vesicuro had it. Good, quick hands off. And the running player was Crombie. Delivered the ball back into the forward line. Mark is going to be taken down there. They play on now. Occasions has a running option inside him. Now he uses that player in Condi. He looks up and he goes long back out towards centre wing. Meehan presented up nicely and has taken the mark. Goes back and goes on his left boot. Delivers the ball in towards Love. Kick didn't quite get to him, but he's made good the ball and he's kicked the ball further afield. McLennan intercepted. He sits over the top of the ball now. East Geelong with some numbers. They try and feed the ball out. Umpire said there's a holding decision, and it's going to go to East Geelong, and it looks like it's going to go to Fanning.
Wow.
So Fanning now on the half-back line. He's looking at options. He was going to go short across the ground. I'm glad he didn't go that way because it would have been very dangerous. Goes back towards centre wing. Lows up. Mark is not taken out there. Comes out of the contest circuit. Handballs over the top to Wilson. Goes to Templeton. Templeton got the handball out the back. Picked up there and kicked forward there. Tycon it was. Put the ball back into the half-forward line. Donahue leads in the race for the ball. Mars pushes him past it. Manganelli desperate. Dives on top of the ball. And umpire says that's a free kick for in the back. So Manganelli earns himself a free kick.
They paid that the wrong way.
Bit of a crossover from that free kick, isn't it?
Yep.
Taking the legs out? Or
Yeah, it was taking the legs out for sure.
So the ball goes back towards the goal square. Grundle was up, didn't quite hang on to the ball. Now he tries to win possession back again, picked up by Burke. He's slung, picked up by Grundle, and from the goal square, he has got the first goal of the third quarter. So Dalton Grundle, his first of the afternoon, and the sixth now for Inverleigh. They are 6-8. They lead East Geelong on 4-6. 3 minutes gone. To Granny Cycling Sports, third quarter scoreboard.
I don't want to harp on it too much, but they always pay. You take the legs out from someone. Doesn't matter if he sits on your back. It's against you. I think you got it wrong. But this is the quarter East Geelong beat Inverleigh last time we saw. So Inverleigh have started off very, very well, Busey.
14-point differential right now, and it's looking really interesting because the inside 50s for East, they've had two of them in that last portion of play. The ball was exited really well by Inverleigh, particularly that last one, full length of the ground. Reward came to the Inverleigh team.
Cordner Mars comes through after the two ruckmen failed to do anything decisive. He kicks long into the forward line. Vesicuro gets over the back. A lovely hand pass out to McGrath.
There's a reply
to Watson Searle, and that is a very quick reply inside a very short period of time. And I think that's the reason the last couple of minutes we've seen Vesicuro grab the ball and hand pass almost immediately to open up. It's probably why they want him in the side, Busey.
I'll tell you what, Rob, the great thing about it is a half-time debrief with a couple of East Geelong people. I said, the game hasn't opened up yet, and YG, hasn't it? What now? That's 5 minutes of play almost down, and both ways we've seen the play go, and a goal kicked each end. Looking forward to the rest of this quarter.
Yeah, very much so. McLennan and Wilson will lock horns again, the winner and runner-up in the Neville Whitley medal this week. We've really enjoyed their clash within the clash this afternoon. So McLennan gets that one down. Coming through again is Cordner Mars. He can't get away this time. Circuit's in there for Inverleigh. Players have grabbed it. The umpire will have no choice to throw it up again in exactly the same spot where we started. Right inside the centre circle here at the Gordon Tafe Oval. The home of the St Albans Footy Club. Wilson gets one over the top this time. Robertson tries to get through and can't. And there'll be another ball up. We're just outside the centre circle, so that the third go this time. McLennan sortedly releases with a handball looking for Sam Lowe. He uses his body very well to give McIntyre some space. Gets it across to Mulville, very cleverly back to McIntyre. Low left foot pass going forward looking for Lemper. Coming out, taking the ball on the half volley there is McGrath. Gets it inside to Crombie. Crombie, a big, long punt kick up forward. Vesicuro goes back, can't quite hold the mark. Muir comes through for Inverleigh. Gets a hand pass back from Crawley and kicks into the middle of the ground and finds Wilson. Poodle Wilson hand passes to Tyquin. Tyquin kicks into space looking for Burke. He can't hold the ball. Fanning does a very good job to hand pass across to Belitho. He goes to McLennan. Hand passes back in the direction of Belitho. Good enough to pick it up. Get it to Fanning. Fanning kicks out at half forward flank looking for McGrath. He punches on. Jared Young's going to be first there for Inverleigh. Neat little pass from him and finds Matt Tyquin. Right at the interchange gates here. Club room side at the St Albans Oval here. So a little kick further down the ground finds Paddy Burke. Inverleigh still in possession. Another short pass from Burke looking for and finding Circuit. And he marks very, very low to the ground. Right in front of our commentary position here. Inverleigh 8 points in front with 7 minutes into the De Grande Sport and Cycle third quarter here. Alex Brown looking for a hand pass. But Circuit's gone back straight across the ground and Matt Tyquin's made space. Long low drop punt from him. He finds Dalton Grundle on the lead with a very, very good kick. Grundle just kicked the first goal for Inverleigh this quarter. The ball beats Burke over the boundary line from that pass from Grundle. We'll have a throw in. Forward pocket, about 40 metres around from Inverleigh's goal. They're currently leading by 8 points. Desperate to get another one and put pressure on the Eagles. Throw in now, the two big guns again. Very good tap there by Wilson. Gets it to Love. He hand passes further to Young. Quick kick from forward from him, and it is Burke who comes out and takes a mark for Inverleigh. He's within distance. He'll kick from about 45 metres on a 45-degree angle. We'll be right behind it. So you'll probably hear Inverleigh's coach, Grubby Cation, get very excited if this list leaves the boot well. So Burke got a couple already this afternoon. Comes in, kicks and kicks poorly to the right-hand side. One behind only. 6:9:45 now Inverleigh, East Geelong 5:6:36. Ali Mars kicking out as he's done almost every time this afternoon. Goes for a run, takes a bounce, a second bounce. He's deep in the back pocket now. Long down the line looking for Sam Lowe, but getting in front of him, punching it away is Crawley. Coming through is Lemper. He's got the ball now for East Geelong, kicking down the line looking for Watson Searle, and that is a very, very good mark. He's been quite a handy forward for them today. Runs around immediately on the left foot. Drop punt. He'll be looking for his former teammate in Smith. He kicks it off the ground, running towards the goal square. Going back there is Muir. He gets hands on the ball first in front of Vesicuro. Knocks it through for a behind. So East Geelong now go to 37. Inverleigh 45. 9 minutes now into the De Grande Sport and Cycle third quarter.
Bit of old school football there. Knocked across the goal line for a behind. You want that one taken out of the game too, Grubby?
No. Deliberate and that, you leave it in to give the defenders a chance.
Yeah, exactly. They need something.
Locations now with the kicking duties, goes long, comes clubroom side. Sam Lowe sits in front and he takes the mark uncontested. He will go quickly back into their forward line. Player out wide. Good kick. Mark will be taken out there. I think that might be Lemper who's taken that mark, and he is in range and will go back and shoot towards goal.
You called the mark uncontested. The reason for that was McLennan held Wilson out fairly and beautifully.
So Ryan Lemper now with an opportunity to kick the sixth goal for East Geelong and close the margin once again. So Lemper now steps in, comes over 50, kicks that goal. It is low, it is flat, and it is long enough, and it is through for a goal. So Ryan Lemper has his first of the afternoon, and the sixth now for East Geelong. They are 6-7, Inverleigh on 6-9. We have gone 10 minutes. De Grande Cycle and Sports third quarter scoreboard.
I reckon both teams have to change their game. Every time East plays, McLennan gives them first use of the ball. When Inverleigh play, Wilson gives them that. When they're nullifying, they have to change it a little bit. They're not getting an armchair ride like they normally do.
Certainly not, my friend. And the interesting thing there too is I was thinking about this in the second quarter, and I thought Wilson was having his colours lowered, but it was just the fact that they weren't getting their hands on the footy for a period. He actually came off out of breather, went back out, and immediately had great impact.
Yes. Yep.
So back in the middle we go again. This time Ruckman go at it again. McLennan missed the ruck tap out, but got boot the ball and then kicked the ball forward. Lemper's taken the mark, plays on again, swings and goes into the forward line. Gee, that's a great delivery. And Watson Searle comes out and takes the mark, and he again maybe just outside range. He's going to go into the pocket looking for his mate again, and Smith comes out this time. He takes the mark and will go back and shoot for goal. Hasn't got one on the board at this stage. Probably his first real chance to have a shot.
Two nuggety key forwards working again like midfielders.
Yeah, and I tell you what, it's not beyond him. I know it's a tough kick, but it's not beyond this kid. He kicks these.
Beautiful kick of the footy.
So Smith now, must know what the name, Busey.
Comes in.
I'm married to a Smith.
Kicks that goal. Umpire stands, looks straight back over the top of his head. His first goal of the afternoon, and the seventh now for East Geelong. They are 7-7, take the lead. Inverleigh on 6-9, 11 and a half gone. De Grande Cycle and Sports third quarter scoreboard.
Well, they're all saying at half time that Busey knows the game, but guess what? Grubby knows a bit about it too.
He does too. I tell you what, that great centre break there, opportunity coming from the midfield there, and that great piece of play by Lemper. He's now. I heard you mention earlier that he'd been a bit quiet.
Yeah.
He's coming into his game a bit now.
I need more out of him, or you need more out of him, and you got more out of him so far.
He's had a big third quarter indeed. Back in the middle, I got young Austin Mulville in the middle, which is a big assignment for the teenager. He's mainly been out on the wing. Josh Andrews in there as well. McLennan gets it down to McIntyre, to Mulville, but his hand pass is ill-directed. Goes to Gerard, to Love. He kicks low into the forward line. Meehan uses his body very well. Gets Jaden Fanning out of the contest. Plays on. Kicks at goal. Slightly to the right-hand side. One behind only. That would have been a great team-lifting goal for the Inverleigh side. 6:10:46 they are. 3 points in arrears. 12.5 minutes into the De Grande Sport and Cycle third quarter here at Gordon Tafe Oval. And Alistair Mars again with the ball.
I know they're leading, but they really needed that one for the way the play's been going.
They certainly did. Alistair Mars again. That's a beautiful drop punt kick right out onto the half-back line for his team. Coming through there for, that's Oslands picks it up. A hand passes very well back into traffic to McGrath.
On the ball,
he had a chance and he didn't take it and he got nailed and he's been penalised correctly. So I think that's Brad Circuit with the ball. He gets it back inside to Roberts and he's tackled quickly but gets it to Circuit again. Kicks into the forward pocket. Mars drops what he would normally have taken. But his defending support friend in Helmore gets it. And McClellan gets across, punches away from Gerard and will force a boundary throw in right underneath the light tower, far side of the ground. Those flags are starting to waft a little bit more over there, gentlemen, but it's just about across the ground, isn't it?
It is, and I'll tell you what, Rusty was a big bloke, the biggest bloke on the ground bearing at him, but he gave no quarter. He stays a tough little bugger.
Great contest, that.
Yep.
So Wilson again gets front position. McLennan actually lays it down beautifully to McIntyre. We've called that a few times this afternoon. McIntyre kicks into the middle of the ground to McGrath. He gets it to Hall, can't break through the pack. Inverleigh have got the ball now, comes out the back to Young. He hand passes to Love. Love's tackled just as he kicks it. He gets it into the hot spot, but that's a very good mark by McIntyre for East Geelong.
A good player, this kid.
He's nearly the best player on the ground, I reckon. He gets it across a hot spot, knocked away from Helmore. Donahue comes in to pick up the ball for Inverleigh. Alistair Mars does a great job to get across and support his mate. Players desperately underneath the ball. That's a push to Inverleigh, not paid. Dragged off the ball there was Hutchison. Gets it back into the hot spot though. Players going everywhere. But I think that's Helmore. Kicks the ball out on the centre wing. Knocked away from Tyquin over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in. That's right in front of the Inverleigh coach's box. That was young Austin Mulville. Did a very good job to compete with the much heavier and more experienced Matt Tyquin in that position.
Gee, those kick across the goal can kill the coaches.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. McLennan lays it down, but coming through the ball, East Geelong gets it cleverly to Hutchison. He back to Wilson. Wilson hand passes, but intercepted by Andrew. The ball bobbles down. Blake Hutchison again gets it across to Love. Love's tackled, but hand passes it about into space. Ball over the back to Burke. Burke kicks and he's very, very happy. It's a great little team goal. A few hand passes around to finally release a player. That was Paddy Burke. And he's kicked a very important goal for the Hawks. Gets them back in front.
Most efficient forward you've got up there at the moment.
Yep.
Going very, very well. Burke had multiple opportunities. Kicked a fair few points too. I think he's kicked 3 points as well. He's a real live wire up there. He finds space. Got on the end of a chain of handballs, Grubby. And the ball movement, there's a number of players that are just sitting in the midfield area of the Inverleigh team, and they're just capitalising on these little opportunities that have been created.
They are, and I say it every week, don't I? If you keep the ball in there long enough with forward pressure, you will score.
So Ruckman go at it, middle of the ground, picked up there. Mulville, he was tackled straight away, won't get out of the contest, and the umpire will come back, take possession of the ball, and we'll have a bounce again.
They're going in that hard. You tell me these blokes don't know how important this quarter is.
So ball up in the air again. Going to Andrew. He again was tackled straight away, and again no prior opportunity there. Back with the umpire third time. Still within the confound of that centre circle. Ball thrown up over the top. Wilson gets the ball down. Tyquin quick hands outside of Gerard. Goes back into the forward line. Leading the race of the ball. Fanning kicks the ball off the ground. Goes outside. Picked up there cleanly there by Dowsett on the right boot. Runs and kicks inside. Went towards his teammate. The kick wasn't that good, and the ball is picked up and cleaned away by Temple and comes across the ground. Mark is taken out there by Young. Donahue presents up and again takes the mark. He had the mark and put the ball down again. Picked up there by Mars. Mars now goes back towards centre wing, and the mark will be taken down, I would think. You can't do that either, mate.
No, umpires are not going to
Not with the worst umpires, you can let you do that.
No.
So Crombie now back behind the mark, and he is now looking for his options up forward. McGrath's gone to the boundary line. That's the direction he's going in. Kick was a little bit wider than he probably wanted it to go, and it will go over the boundary line, and we'll have a throw-in to take place.
Yet if another bloke runs in and picks it up, they can go then, because then it's the advantage
rule. Yep. Bit of excitement in the outer.
A little bit.
Yeah, so ball thrown back in. McLennan front position. Ruckman go at it and come to ground. Picked up there and cleaned away. Love on the left boot. Comes back outside. Grundle over the top of his head into the hands of Rich. Rich looks back inside. Now this is another dangerous kick. Has to be good. Mark not taken out there. Good contest there. Game picked up. Donahue went outside. Has Gerard running free. I tell you what, Helmore's got a big job to do. He needs to hold things up. He's done nicely so far. He has done that very, very well.
No.
And the umpire will come in and have a ball up inside forward 50 for Inverleigh.
Smithy, I said it East. Donahue's kicking the footy before he needs to kick it, and he did it then. They were on then.
Yeah.
And he kicked it too quick.
So the ball now to be thrown up by the umpire. Wilson over the top. Missed his teammate there in Love, but Grozdanovsky went after it pretty hard. He couldn't pick it up either. Umpire now sits over the top of the ball. Well, not that he doesn't sit over the top of the ball, but he's going to get it back, and he's going to have a ball up. True centre half forward position. Again, Inverleigh deep in attack.
Let's throw it up a bit higher this time. They both had to go for the tap out round their waist.
So up this time, over the top, McLennan gets the ball down, trying to force his way through was Andrew, I think it was. Maybe not. He was tackled, and again, a repeat of what we've just had.
It's tough in there, Grubby. It's a real scrap.
You bet it is. It's gone up a notch too. They both want to rest next week.
So McLennan and also Wilson. Wilson this time out the back, went to Gerard, got back in his left boot, little handball inside to Grozdanovsky, kicks quickly into the forward line. Love leads in the race for the ball, bounced over his head, read nicely by there. Fanning goes outside to Mulville. Mulville gets the handball, missed Cordner-Mars. Robinson's there, didn't go after the ball actually, so Cordner-Mars went back and collected it. Now runs, kicks the ball into their forward line, or it's the centre wing, picked up there by Brown of Inverleigh. He comes back the other way. McGrath, good spoil from behind, goes towards Grundle. He picks it up, good clean hands into Grozdanovsky, and quickly his kick goes into the forward line. It was read nicely there by Donahue. Couldn't get his hands on it. Handball's outside now from me and goes back towards Donahue. Cordner-Mars, or Mars it was, but Donahue did nicely. Kicked back towards the goal square, but taking the mark there is McDonald, and he will settle things down for East Geelong. So from the goal square, McDonald now looking at some options. Got Crombie a little bit deeper. That's where he goes. Went to the ball, didn't mark it, but went back and collected it. Handball from McIntyre, not required because he takes it on the left boot.
He's called it out of bounds. He's called it out of bounds.
Not too sure that was right either.
No, not quite, but both of them have called it, but gee.
Crowd is starting to get involved, Busey.
Very lively.
Sherby's hitting the spot.
A little bit of sun.
And Dion Miles up there yelling and screaming. I think his head's going to blow off.
He's been doing it for about 8 quarters now. So thrown back in by the umpire. McLennan's going to be the only ruckman that gets through the contest. Cordner-Mars does the clean-up work, kicks the ball along the boundary line, bounds over the top, goes towards Muir. He's tackled Vesicuro over the shoulder. And the free kick will go to Dean Muir. So Muir now of Inverleigh, just forward of a centre wing. We'll put Inverleigh right back inside there, forward 50, goes towards the centre half forward position. Kick probably not directed in that way. Wilson's up over the top, ball comes to the ground, picked out there. McDonald clears the ball, goes across the ground and has Fanning in some space by himself. Lemper, look at him, he's out in space and Will can run. He can take as many bounces as he like. That's 1, that is 2, runs 3, still going. When ball came back to him, 4, inside 50, looks up, delivers the ball, kicks okay. Straight in the hand of the ball, who runs in and kicks the goal.
Memories of some of your finest work, Andrew Buse.
First goal, he's Mitch Hawes' second goal of the afternoon. 8-7 East Geelong. They lead Inverleigh on 7-10. 21 and a half gone. Durandi Cycling Sports third quarter scoreboard.
As soon as that kick went, he went. And I tell you what, no one else did. He created that himself. No luck there.
No, and the other thing is, what it's a bit of a symptom of having a lot of players pooling around that centre half forward area for Inverleigh, but not actually manning on anybody. The turnover got caused, man out in his own, and that just the overlap and the run down field looked really, really solid. Great goal.
And probably one of the first times for the day that they've actually got him for pace. They haven't got him for pace much because of the way the game's been played.
It's just been so tight.
Yeah, but they got him then.
Okay, centre bounce. East Geelong back in front by 3 points. McLennan and Wilson. McLennan again to McIntyre. He has a second go at it. Gets it away. Hand passes inside to Andrew. Andrew to Lowe, and he gets caught in a mask with a short pass. Out on centre wing, he goes directly across the ground, and Austin Mulville, far side of the ground, has made space. No, it's young McDonald, who was the first kick in that last passage of play. A very calming kick. That one not so good. Actually looking for a Crombie, but coming out is Templeton, and he gets it across, and Dalton Grundle now. Hand passes wide out on the centre wing to Inverleigh's Gerard. He's tackled again. The umpire says play on. He got a little bit of a foot to it, he said. Gets it out in centre wing. McLennan is marked after a great bit of defensive work there by East Geelong. So McLennan has the ball. Kicks across the scoreboard. Punched away by Inverleigh's defence. Out of bounds, far side of the ground. Underneath the scoreboard showing a 3-point lead to East Geelong, and we're 23 minutes into the De Grande Sport and Cycle third quarter.
East Geelong's rest last week. Can they help them is that going to help them in the last quarter?
Didn't help them in the first half, I don't reckon, but it's helping them now, yeah.
And with Finn
one down on rotations,
it makes it a little bit hard as well.
So McGrath there wins the tap against Wilson, which is handy for his team. Lemper wins it again, and beautiful pass into the middle of the ground finds Sam Lowe. Lowe's waiting for some options. Plays on now. Neat little kick into the forward pocket. He'll be looking for Smith, but coming across, punching away defensively is Crawley for Inverleigh. We'll have a boundary throw in.
Just having a look at their forward structure then. It was really good to see one forward come out on an angle, lead up through the middle, in swings Smith in behind, does exactly the same pattern. They know what they're doing down there, those East forwards.
So the umpire has found a free kick. Someone's been pinged for holding, and it's going to be a free kick to East Geelong, and it's going to be Brent McGrath, who was infringed in that ruck contest.
Has he kicked one yet, Smithy?
Who's that?
McGrath?
Yeah, he's got one, Brucey.
And just to carry on from that, Busey, like they do move that well, but a high kick into the forward line for East with their structure isn't the right kick to go, is it? They've got to use that pattern.
The umpire has changed his mind. Dalton Grundle is now the recipient of that free kick. So he must have just been a little bit confused. And Dalton Grundle has kicked the ball, couldn't have kicked it any straighter out of bounds. He
didn't agree with that free kick either.
He obviously didn't. He felt guilty about being rewarded. He just kicked it straight over the line. So McGrath has now got it back. He's just 40 metres further out than he was before. So he kicks into the pocket, also a tight angle, but coming out, Lemper can't hold the mark, punched out of his hands over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in, 30 metres around from East Geelong's goal. 3 points in front they are, 25 minutes we are into the De Grande Sport and Cycle third quarter. They'll be desperate for one more before the orange break. Ball's thrown up. McGrath double hands it down to the front of the pack. Lemper comes onto the ball. He's had a big third quarter. Condi for Inverleigh tries to get away. Cordner-Mars hand passes it inboard to McIntyre. He gets it across to Hoare, but they can't break free. Lemper's again into there underneath it. Hoare again gets it. Tries to break through with a don't argue. The umpire has pinged him. Yeah, that hand was a little bit high. Tried to fend off and got his opponent. I think that's Love underneath the chin. And Inverleigh will take a free kick in the back pocket. So it's Love now, kicks down the line. Oh, that's very well read by Jaden Fanning. He stayed down, picked up the crumb at the back of the pack. The umpires found a free kick here. It's going to go the way of Inverleigh. Blake Hutchison was held out of that marking contest. He kicks down the line. Ryan Rich again with some great defensive work. Gets the ball out of the pack, but Burke does a very good job for Inverleigh. Gets the ball inboard to Hutchison. He kicks down, misses his target. First there is Fanning. He does a very good job for East. Wheels around on the right-hand side, finds Oslands on his own underneath the scoreboard, far side of the ground. Oslands back in the middle to McIntyre. McIntyre plays on quickly, kicks across, and that's a beautiful pass and finds Brent McGrath about 45 metres out, 45-degree angle. And we're coming up to the shadows of three-quarter time now. 27 minutes gone in the quarter. McGrath now hand passes inside.
No, he didn't know it was coming.
Who did not know the ball was coming. He looking to play on now, goes inside and finds, outside and finds Dowsett right near the boundary line in front of his team's coach's box. He'll be almost 50 metres out. Short pass from him on a lead. Looking for Watson Sill. Inverleigh defenders outnumber him. Comes to Dalton Grundle. He kicks down the line. McIntyre's waiting underneath it. Grozkanovski does a good job. Donahue picks up a crumb to Manganelli by hand. He kicks into the middle of the ground. Burke's running hard for the ball. Ryan Rich right on his hammer. Burke tries to hand pass away. Rich has done a great job defensively. Manganelli bursts through the pack.
Hold the man.
Umpire said he was held without it. And Toby Manganelli will take the ball. He kicks low into the forward line looking for Donahue. Does a very good job there as Belitho to keep Donahue out. Gets a hand pass back from Mars to Austin Mulville. He kicks down the line. The only one underneath it is Manganelli. Probably could have done a better job to win that ball, waiting for it to bounce, but it's bounced over the boundary line.
Don't worry about winning that ball. He probably should have done better with a kick. If you've got a one-on-one, you've got to give it to your player's advantage.
He definitely didn't do that. So that's a win for East Geelong. They've got a boundary throw in and out right at three-quarter time. Siren must be due any moment. It's a great tackle by Corden Amas on Robertson. He's not going anywhere. And we'll have a ball up almost touching distance from where we're sitting at the moment. 3-point advantage to East Geelong, coming up to 28.5 minutes into this third quarter. McLennan goes up, but it's Wilson who gets the ball. Circuit wins it. Back to Love. Love back to Circuit with a neat little handball. Grundle comes out, gets it across to Burke. Burke hand passes looking for a teammate. Can't find one. Boundary line wins out. Desperately in attack, coming up to 29 minutes now. Inverleigh, have got it in their forward line. They'll be desperate for this goal to get them in the lead at the last break. Can only be seconds left. Over the back of the pack, Mulville throws it to McIntyre, literally. Crombie gets a hand pass from McIntyre, kicks it forward. But there's the siren. It is a 3-point lead to East Geelong. 29-minute third quarter just gone. That was the Grandi Sport and Cycle third quarter. Dale Smith, who's been kicking some goals today?
Yeah, goal kickers for East Geelong, 2 each to Mitch Hoare and Watson Searle, 1 each to Smith, McGrath and Lemper, and for Inverleigh, Donahue with 3, Paddy Burke 2, 1 each to Casey Mee and Dalton Grundle. So at this stage it is 8-7 to East Geelong, 7-10 Inverleigh. We'll take a short break, come back, final quarter action here. You're listening to 94.7 The Pulse, your home of local football.
The last quarter, brought to you by Morris Finance.
Well, the last quarter will start with East Geelong 3 points in front in the Morris Finance final quarter. Inverleigh, they're a little bit behind. We've got a fresh team, had a bye last week. Grubby, is that going to play a part?
I think it might, because they just start to get on top. As I said during the call, we all thought they'd have Inverleigh for pace, but the way the game's been played, they haven't been able to do that. But just a few times deep in that third quarter, they did have them for pace, and that tells me that they're fresh and Inverleigh aren't. But I tell you what, we see some pretty good games during the year, and that you really, when you come to the footy as a spectator, as a player, as a commentator, you really want to see the finals be the best games. And we didn't last week, but we bloody well are today, because during that quarter, I reckon they lifted it a notch, blokes crashing and bashing and doing everything they could, because they just knew how important it was. And I just Inverleigh hope they do have some run in their legs and make it a cracking last quarter in the second semi-final.
Couldn't agree more with you, Grubby. I actually thought that defensively Inverleigh were getting on top against East in the early part of that quarter. East went inside 50 and they just couldn't get that connection kick working. All of a sudden it started to work for them, and they got a bit of mojo and started to really assert themselves. I've loved the ruck contest. I've absolutely, I'm always quick to bag the ruckman, but I can tell you what, I'm loving this competition between these two boys, having a real crack at each other. Lemper lifted in that quarter, found something, really became a lively target for the East boys. And I thought Fanning, cross half back, has been outstanding, created a lot of forward thrust. And, I'm looking now at this game. How will they get through? Who's going to be the fitter side? Well, we know that O'Keefe went off with that injury early, concussion, injury, whatever it might be. That's going to play its part, because they're one rotation down Inverleigh. That is going to make it mighty, mighty difficult. So I'm looking forward to the quarter. We're still waiting on East to break from their huddle. And... Grubby, what do you reckon your boys are going to... What they need to do to get over the line?
Well, they've just got to keep doing what they're doing. And both sides obviously got to kick straight, because you don't want to waste your opportunities in this quarter. I'm just a bit worried about the run. I really am. With the Inverleigh boys, you've got Hutchie's a little bit older. Circuit's a bit older. Youngie's a bit older. They've got a lot of kids, East, and if they can get out and run... Then East will win. Yeah,
they're very experienced, those boys, aren't they? Yeah. They know how to cut corners.
And that's what I'm talking about. If they can cut that off and halve it like they've done most of the game, then Inverleigh can still get a game and get it going straight in the grand final.
Maybe he should change his name.
Who?
Jared Young, Jaron Older.
What do I call him?
I don't know.
Oh.
Young Mr. Young.
No, I was just saying, we're saying Young was older, but Older was young.
Listen, in future, right... I'll do the gags, right? You just do the commentary if you don't mind, because I reckon out of our 11 listeners that we do have, 11 of them didn't laugh in that situation.
Busey, I just saw a young Tommy Swinenson walk past. He's a nice little lad to be walking back into your camp next year.
Couldn't be happier, to be honest.
My geez, can that boy play?
Can't wait to see him in the black and whites. I watched a game last year, and it was a bad one. It was out at Bannockburn, and the boys got torched. And I've only seen him play the once, and I really am looking forward to seeing him close up and do some work with him.
He's a good player, good young kid too. Well, Dale, you can take the honours to get this last quarter started. It's the Morris Finance last quarter, major sponsors of the GDFNL.
Final siren has sounded. We're about to see some action. Ball thrown in the air. Over the top this time, Wilson gets the ball down. No clean pick up. Circuit's in there. Tries to run through or out of the contest. He's not coming out that easy and will be held up. Umpire will take possession of the ball once again. Right in the middle still we are. And the ball is thrown up. Goes Ruckman. Both got hands on it. Lemper and also Circuit go at it. Ball is tipped out the back. Again, tackle made. And the umpire sits and says this time there is going to be a free kick given, and it will go to Circuit. No, it's not. It's Jared Love right in the middle of the ground. So Love now, he plays on and looks to go long into the forward line. Actually changed his kick, and it was Grundle was going the wrong way when he first delivered it, but McIntyre slips in and takes the mark. He goes back into the middle. Mark is taken out there. Andrew. Haven't seen a lot of him in this game. He was pretty good against Inverleigh the last time they played. He now comes clubroom side, goes outside looking for McGrath. He's up. Ball comes to the front of the contest. Osland's first to arrive. Runs the boundary line. Now there's a chop.
Free kick here?
I don't know why I wouldn't have paid advantage there, but umpire's called it back. And it is McGrath that's got the free kick. So McGrath now just looking at his options further down the field. He's going to go along the boundary line. Watson Searles there, picked up by Smith. Handball comes outside, goes to its teammate. Picked up there, goes back towards goal. Crombie, ball, good spoil in or contest in the goal square by Muir. Vesicuro picks the ball up. He's tackled, taken over the boundary line. There will be a throw in 10 metres around from the behind post.
Always worry about that kick. It's got to be a higher drop punt. You know, the little kick across the body is always going to drop short.
Yeah.
So ball thrown back in now by the umpire. Ball out the back. Crawley. Ball comes out.
Danger.
And it was Watson Searle round the
Danger.
body. He has got the first of the last quarter and his third of the afternoon. So they now move to 9-7. They lead Inverleigh on 7-10. 2 minutes gone, final quarter. Morris Finance scoreboard.
As soon as he went near the ball, I thought, hello, there's a chance. He won't miss this. And Inverleigh needed to kick that first goal when we're talking about running their legs. So if they don't kick the next one, Inverleigh, big trouble.
Well, they're kicking to the scoring end, East Geelong, and it's weird because there's really no reason why it should be. And just created a little bit of something out of nothing there, Grubby. Nice piece of magic, really.
Well, he's been doing that all year, that kid, and that's why he made the team of the year. I got no problems with that. Well done.
So in the middle now, it's McLennan who got most of that. Love has been the recipient, though, underneath it. He gets a hand pass to Dalton Grundle, kicks it forward for Inverleigh, but McIntyre bursts through the pack, gets a hand pass out to Alempa, kicks forward, but that's a very clever mark by Jacob Templeton in defence for Inverleigh. And he relieved pressure for the Hawks. Little pass from him. Dalton Grundle has made position just on centre wing, kicks it right back into the middle of the ground, finds Bial. He runs through the centre circle, kicks straight down the line. Coming over the back of the pack is Ryan Rich, can't hold the mark, but gets the ball forward. Sam Lowe comes through. He's tackled with the ball, didn't have prior possession. The umpire agrees and will have... No, he doesn't agree. He's pinged him.
He doesn't agree.
He's pinged him for holding the ball, and Toby Manganelli for Inverleigh will take a shot at goal. He's probably 50 metres out, the man on the mark, I would think. Manganelli fancies himself.
Well, he missed a set shot before. He just has to kick this.
So Toby Manganelli is directly in front. Probably kicked from around 50, 48 metres, something along those lines. He's backing himself. Runs through, skips around to his right. The ball leaves his boot beautifully and goes long.
He's
the
called
umpire
a touch.
has called it touched on the line. And one behind only to Inverleigh.
Hit the post.
They go to 7-12, 54, East Geelong 9-7, 61.
We got a score review here.
No, it hit the post.
The umpire was very, very quick to make that decision. Alistair Mars plays on again. That's a lovely kick to McGrath. Can't quite hold the mark. Ryan Rich goes in. The umpire's paid it. And kicks in the middle of the ground.
Ooh.
Sam Lowe punched away from him by Grundle. Grundle runs in and kicks a very important goal. So that a game of centimetres, and that was a perfect example. The ball didn't quite get to Lowe quick enough. Inverleigh have a goal. Wow, how important is that?
Gee whiz, Grubby, that was just such... Sometimes you bite off more than you can chew, and that's an example of it. You spoke about that early in the first quarter.
Yeah, but they've played like that all year, so they've stuck to their guns. But I was just about to say before, Dalton Grundle's starting to get a bit of the ball. He's butchered it today. He hasn't kicked well, and he does that.
Yeah, I know.
Well done, son.
Yeah, terrific goal. Well done. Well set up. It was a great turnover, in fact, because the ball previous had hit the post. Kick in was average. And then the next piece of play, terrific work by the Inverleigh. What are the Inverleigh guys?
Hawks.
Yeah.
Back in the middle we go, and the ball runs towards centre wing. McIntyre was in front, picked up by Love. Handball out the back, goes to Wilson. Wilson over the top, back towards Condi. Bidor didn't get a very good bounce there. Lowe is there. He picks the ball up on the left boot, kicks the ball around the boundary, or further around the boundary line. Picked up there. McGrath takes the mark. He looks back inside, decides that he's going to go long to the pocket. Vesicuro out in front, spoil from behind. Ball hits the ground. Vesicuro, he recovers quickly, looks at his options, goes short and quick. Well, Watson Searles there, and he will answer very, very quickly. His second of the quarter and the 10th now for East Geelong. They are 10-7, Inverleigh on 8-11. And Morris Finance final quarter scoreboard.
Well, I thought they mucked that up. He went for the long kick to Vesakuru, which was the wrong option. He had Watson Searle leading out. But when it hit the ground, Watson Searle ran back into the forward line, and the bloke on him didn't go with him. So
how good a kick was that Vesakuru too? He was looking at him, not the goals, and many would have had a ping from there, but great team play, and East Geelong are back out to an 8-point lead.
He's not right.
No,
neither
is Cord Demars. He's sitting up on the bench with his leg up on the bench.
He's
with
got
some
a hole
strapping
in his leg.
Yeah, no, that's what
Someone
I'm saying.
stood on his leg. He's got a hole in his leg.
Oh dear, back in the middle. Wilson punches forward, not too fast. Lemper comes through and uses that
Nice
pace
move.
of his. That's a horrible kick forward though. Templeton's got it. He's playing around with it. Gets space now, kicks out and finds Alex Brown on his own half-back flank for Inverleigh. He's got an option down the middle of the ground. He's kicked to it, but that option's
biggest
turned out
bloke
to
on the
be
ground.
Tim McLennan from East Geelong, who's marked inside the centre square. I think he was looking for Wilson, but the kick landed short. McLennan now, that's a lovely kick out and half-back flank. Just half volleys for McGrath, but he's good enough to pick it up. Quick kick around the body in the pocket. Dowsett and Condi are going for the ball. Dowsett gets it down on the ground. Inverleigh coming through circuit. It's coming through there as Hoare. He picks it up, gets it across to McIntyre. Down on his hands and knees, can't get the ball. Inverleigh now have got space and have released to Grundle. Grundle hand passes inside to Brown. Brown kicks down the line, but again, a very, very poor kick. And lands with Belitho. He kicks out on the centre wing, and young Crombie. The youngster's had a really good game. His first senior final, I'd imagine.
Been terrific.
Been reasonable.
So Crombie for East Geelong kicks down the line. Crawley has 3 juggles. The umpire didn't pay it after all that. Hand pass out the back by McIntyre to Lowe. Lowe to Mitch Hoare. He kicks into the square over the back of the pack through for 1 point only. So the lead is out 9 points.
That was a push in the back, wasn't it?
Well,
Old school pushing back, no holding the ground, nothing. No free kick either.
No.
Done a great job, the umpies.
And they're getting tired. They're getting tired like everybody is. Even I'm getting tired.
Cation's kicked it into the back pocket. And Circuit, I think it is, has the ball out there for Inverleigh. Kicks dangerously into the middle, but he's found by Al. Al's encouraged to kick out wider to Love, who's way out here on his own. Rich gets there late, puts pressure on. Love down the line to Hutchison.
No, Hutchie, go the ball, son.
Dear
Jaw
me.
kick.
That could have easily been reversed, but Hutchison's got free kick or mark. He hand passes over, and Ryan Rich arrives on the scene, punches away from Love. That's that thing of centimetres, just not quite good enough to kick.
What
Too long to get there.
What it was a hospital pass. That's what it was.
Don't do it if you can't do it.
No.
The Ruckman are going to arrive at this contest. The fitness of these two blokes has been amazing today. It's Wilson who gets this one, but the Lemper's going to be first there. He very cleverly just waddles it towards Sam Lowe. Sam Lowe picks it up. He could be pinged here again.
He's in trouble.
Yes, he is. He's going to be pinged again. Just ask you a question after the game about what he's supposed to do in that situation. Busey, you might have more experience than the rest of us.
I can't remember.
Well, if the umpire deems it to be dragged in, you've got to get it out. No, you can throw the grandstand on top of you. You've got to get it out.
So Jared Young for Inverleigh kicks down to the hot spot. Casey Meehan gets it down to the front of the pack. Grundle kicks forward, looking for Donahue over the back of the pack. Clearance. Burke has run onto it. He will kick it off the ground. No, he won't. He's under a great deal of pressure. Hand passes back to Donahue. Now he's the one who's under pressure. Should have plenty of experience. Left foot kick across the body.
Missed it.
He has missed.
Missed it.
Oh, that is a crucial miss. So Inverleigh go to 8-12-60. East Geelong 10-8-68 as we come up to 10 minutes into the Morris Finance final quarter.
Made a meal of that, Grubby. That was just such an easy effort. Just to put the slipper into it, pop it across the line and goal.
It was always going to be a goal.
Simple.
Until it wasn't.
Correct.
So Mars is doing the kicking in, and he's going to come to the clubroom side. He goes out long, looking for McGrath, up from behind, doesn't take the mark. Ball at ground level now. Ball is run over the boundary line, so we'll have a throw-in. So Inverleigh have done well now to hold things up in their forward half.
When I talk to my defenders at North Geelong, I talk to them about just doing the simple things. Take the easies. Never go for the hard stuff.
So the ball thrown back in by the umpire. Ruckman at it again. McLennan taps the ball down at ground level. Now there's a player underneath. Whether he's going to get pinged, no. Umpires let things go. They're still trying to get the ball out. not coming out, and umpire will take possession of it.
Usually, when I talk to the Werribee Centrals boys, I say, who shouts it?
So it's thrown back up by the umpire once again. McLennan this time gets the tap down. Didn't travel too far from that contest. And again, umpire has no choice but to come back in and ball it up once again.
I know the footy purists won't like it, but the tackling skills of players at all levels now have improved so much.
Yep.
So ball up in the air once again. Lemper tried to take it through as a running player. Picked up out there. Oh, Andrew was taken high, I would have thought. And the umpire has seen it that way. Wins a free kick.
Good vision,
Andrew.
Dale.
From in front of the old scoreboard he is. Still clubroom side. And he's surely not going to look across the ground. He's going to come down the ground, and that's a shocking kick. So I reckon that's pretty wide.
Shanked it.
Grab me a pie while you're there.
Nearly into the hands of Jared Young, who's over the fence, but he will take the free kick from that position. Delivers the ball and plays on now. Comes back inside. Goes towards his coach there in Donahue. Ball is not taken too cleanly. Robinson did well. Got up, got the ball out. Back to Young. He's running through the contest. Didn't take clean possession of it. Was he held without it? Not too sure. Ball over the boundary line, having another throw in, which will take place just outside their forward 50.
Usually when they do tackle like that,
Yep.
it interrupts the flow of the game and makes the game go worse. And that's what you're suggesting, I reckon.
Totally am. Yep.
Tell you what, there's a few boys a little bit sore out there at the moment. Ben Crombie's got a bit of cramp in the hammies, I would think. Ball out the back. He can't move too quickly. Into the hands now of Robertson. He's got the ball, got the handball away. And it's now in the hands of Young. Leads up, kicks long, back into the forward line. Player leading up. Oh, that was probably would have thought that was a good mark. Into the hands of Donahue quickly at goal. Howell at bounce. Mars. He traps it, goes across the face of goal and takes one bounce. Got support there. Belay, that was with him. Hutchison in close pursuit. Goes out wide looking for Rich. Rich needs to take the mark and does so. So that's a good mark in that position.
Do you see what I mean about Donahue? He did have another half a second to steady then.
Yep.
So Rich now. He's going to go towards centre wing, lead up player. Watson Searle, ball out the back. Picked up there, Condi. Wants to handball, does so, goes long. Gerard inside, has Grozdanovsky quickly onto the boot, back into the half-forward line. Rich from behind, Spoils again, picked up out there. I think that was McDonald, got the handball away to Mars, and he goes back towards centre wing. Gerard is there. Troy, he did that nice. He actually got the position of the ball, but Grozdanovsky picks it up. He's tackled, brought to ground. Going to have a ball up, centre wing at the 13.5-minute mark. Final quarter, Morris Finance scoreboard. It is 10-8 in East Geelong, 8-12 to Inverleigh.
So punched away from that ruck contest by Wilson into the path of Love. He can't get away, and that's brilliantly picked up by Lemper. Runs through the middle of the ground. He's being chased, but he's got great pace. Two bounces, a long, low drop punt looking for Smith. Over the back of the pack now. It'll be pace. It'll be Cations and Smith. Smith cleverly uses the body, but teammate arrives. Gets it back across to help Templeton's kick out to Muir. Muir is tackled by Vesicuru, but a great little handball at the last second. Gets it across to Cations, and he kicks down the line. Templeton, sorry. He kicks down the line to Love. Centre wing just in front of us. They're 8 points in arrears. Inverleigh desperately in attack. The umpire said, that's 50 metres, Austin Mulville. You went over the mark before acceptances. So Jared Love will have a second kick. This time he'll be much, much closer to goal. Not within kicking distance by any means. The umpire, I'm not even quite sure where has he set the mark, but Love's kicked inside and found Robertson. He plays on immediately. Kicks across into the forward pocket. Punched away from Burke. Crumbed by Gerard. Kicks it into the square. Comes across.
Here we go!
Burke snapped across his body and he has a goal. Inverleigh back within 2 points. They're 9-12-66. Inverleigh 10-8-68. And we're how long into the Morris Finance? We're 15 minutes into the Morris Finance final quarter.
There doesn't deserve to be a loser here today. There's going to be one, but there doesn't deserve to be one. You've got to give credit to every bloke on the ground. But even the players who aren't playing that well, they're all having a crack.
Critical 50-metre penalty there, and the reward was the effort down in that forward line. I mean, gee whiz, that's just a criminal. I mean, to step over the mark. And then what I watched was East Geelong dawdling down into defence. So they deserve to have that one kicked against them.
So McLennan gets this one down. Coming through is Dalton Grundle to Love. Love hand passes to Robertson. They were in that last passage of play. Punched from the back of the pack by young McDonald. He gets a second crack at it, but coming through strongly, Casey Meehan. His left foot kick is intercepted. Young Mulville, who gave away that 50, was very strong there. He won the footy, and he kicked the ball back down the line, but Bile has taken a great mark behind Sam Lowe.
Bowenhead 6 goals in front of Drysdale.
Oh, my goodness gracious me. Who would have predicted that? I think Winchelsea have lost the netball to East Geelong. Condi kicks into the middle of the ground.
Oh, good work.
Finds Gerard punched away too late by McLennan. Gerard kicks forward. Burke's come out again. But McDonald, the two young fellas have been quite good lately. McDonald goes backwards to Andrew. Andrew kicks across the ground and finds young Monaghan. Back pocket, far side of the ground. He's got one in the middle. It's on his own there, and that is McGrath. He does a very good job, holds it in play, hand passes back to Dowsett. Dowsett tries to get it to McGrath. Bile bursts through, drops the pill, and the umpire said that was incorrect disposal, young fellow. Brent McGrath is going to take a free kick for East Geelong. Nearly 17 minutes in the final quarter. East Geelong by 2 points over Inverleigh. It's McGrath now, kicks down the line looking for Sam Lowe. He's up high, but the ball straight over the boundary line and out of bounds directly in front of us. Can almost pat the boundary umpire on the head as he's about to throw it in here. The same two combatants wait underneath this. What a fantastic job they've both done for their sides today. McLennan cleverly gets it to McIntyre again. Quick kick from him into space. Coming through, very good job there is Templeton. Ozelins does a good job for Inverleigh to intercept that. Tackles Gerard immediately. There will be a ball up. 45 metres out, directly in front of East Geelong's goal.
One short there, Nono. Here he comes. McIntyre's got cramp.
Might be that the extra game might have helped Inverleigh, mate. Because a lot of East boys are starting to cramp up big time.
To cramp up. Ball thrown up over the back of the pack. Wilson gets it through. Coming through, McIntyre has just had cramp. Hand passes it across to Crombie, but it's Alex Brown who releases the ball to Jared Young. He can't quite hold it, but he's picked it up on the bounce, kicks forward, and Ryan Rich, he can't hold the mark at centre half back. Lost control of it now. Comes back towards Condi. Condi kicks quickly forward for Inverleigh. Young McDonald again. It's come over the back to Manganelli. If he'll get clear, he's tackled immediately. McDonald again gets it across to Master McLennan, who's worked extremely hard to make position up the ground. What a great athlete the young fellow is. The reigning Neville Whitley medalist. Kicks across half-back and finds Helmore. Half-back flank for East Geelong. They're desperate. Busey's doing some coaching from the box. The players aren't taking any notice of him, though. Helmore kicks down the line. McGrath's underneath it. Wilson from behind. Can't quite hold the mark. Ball lands at the bottom of the pack. Players tackle. It's not going anywhere. Umpire, please ball it up.
He's been trying to take a Specky, Wilson, for quite a period now. This has been
He
the
has.
third
I'm
I've seen him
surprised
go up
he's
for.
got the strength to go up at this hour of the day after all the jumping he's already done.
Just hasn't clunked them, though, has he?
Has not. Two boys go at it again.
Yet.
Wilson does that very, very well. Gets it to Robertson on the run, clear of the pack. Left footer into the hot spot.
That's a great kick, Robbo!
And takes a fantastic mark in front of Alistair Mars. I would say he'd be standing on the 50-metre arc. Donnie, you just weighing up. Can I go that far, or will I look for an option?
Rocky Boyle's in trouble just in front of us here too.
Yeah, he was underneath that rather crunching tackle before. So Adam Donahue with a chance to put his team back in front. It's a long drop punt.
Oh-ho!
That is a magnificent kick from the coach. His fourth for the afternoon. Each of them have been set shots. He's missed a couple of snaps that he probably would normally have kicked, but he's kicked 4 rippers.
This is unbelievable. This is fantastic. And you know what? A great battle between the ruckmen all day, and it just took a bit of magic from Wilson to get that ball going, and a great kick from Robinson, and an even better kick from the coach.
It was interesting watching the defence because they just rolled back in again holding position, and Buck was leading up, and Donahue just led up, took the mark easy, one on none.
So ball back in the middle of the ground, Circuit going hard at it again, over the top of the ball, tries to feed the ball out. He is being held up now. Umpire Howley said, he says no, it's coming back to me, and we'll have a repeat in the middle.
He's a great kick for goal, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Adam Donahue.
He is. I think I might have mentioned that earlier.
And there's, I tell you what, pressure on too.
So the ball from Wilson goes in the hands of Robinson. Robinson gets the ball forward, into the hands of Lowe. Can't pick it up cleanly. Goes back now. Robinson got another one. Goes into the forward line. That's a great kick. And Burke, he had it. Nearly held onto it. Rich is right with him. Ball sitting underneath. He's dragged it in. He could be in a bit of trouble here.
Holding the ball.
I think he will be. Umpire circling. How we see it.
I just don't understand. Sometimes they'll ping him, and then sometimes they just don't.
He dragged that in. That was a free,
Genuinely.
I think.
So umpire about to ball it up once again on the boundary line. Ball thrown back in. McLennan front position. At ground level, picked up out and cleared again. I think that was Robinson once again inside. Rich can't take the mark. Burke's there. Handball out the back to Manganelli. He goes along the boundary line. The Masters in the goal square.
No.
Donahue picks up. Kicks back towards goal. Mark will be taken by Hutchison. Umpire says yes, that's far enough.
Well, it's got to be 50 now then. Bring him up to the goal line, son. Bring him up to the goal line. It's got to be 50.
Why?
He's knocked him over after he's marked
No, I
it.
didn't see
Bit of
that.
experience, Hutchison. Don't worry about that.
Wow.
But he's on the left foot. Around the body will Hutchison go, and this would be a nice little margin for them if he's able to put this through. So Hutchison stands pretty close to boundary, runs around, kicks round the body. Umpire does not move. He has got his first, and Inverleigh now the 11th. They are 11-12. They lead East Geelong on 10-8. We have gone 22 minutes. Morris Finance final quarter scoreboard.
Grubby, what the great thing here is what we're seeing is Inverleigh playing their best football. They're scoring goals, whereas East Geelong in this first part of this quarter weren't scoring enough goals when they were playing really, really well.
Exactly. And I tell you what, how many times have each side looked a little bit better than the other side? And they get it back, both sides.
Yeah, it's a game of momentum shifts, absolutely.
And great credit to both sides, as I said before.
10 points looking dangerous. It's a game on still.
22.5 minutes into the Morris Finance final quarter. The ball goes up again. McLennan wins it, but it's Alex Brown for Inverleigh who takes it out of the middle, kicks it across. The first one there is going to be Oslands. He hand passes over the back to release young Monaghan. He kicks to true centre half forward. He's looking for teammate.
He's been good, this kid.
Because Jacob Templeton has played a very good game and he's taken a mark. Gets it across to centre wing. Jared Love's made good position. He's kicked down the line. Casey Meehan is going to come out and mark in front of Fanning. Still on centre wing here at this vast St Albans Oval. Casey Meehan very precisely now, changes his mind, goes for a short kick and finds Paddy Burke close to the boundary line. Still a long way out from goal. Another short kick from Burke, looking for Donahue and finding him right on the boundary line, forward pocket. Donahue is in kicking distance.
That means he can take his 30 seconds, and I think he will.
He's a sneaky player. He comes in from behind the player. No one's talking to the guy that he's going to go past. He sneaks in, jumps in front of him, takes an easy chest mark. He's very, very clever.
I reckon he's been down a little bit, but by gee, he's shown his colours today. He's done what they need him to do.
Him and Young both firing this quarter.
Certainly has. So Donahue will kick from about 40 metres out. It's a tight angle, leaves the boot very, very well. It is landing just to the side, comes over the back of the pack. Crumbs picked up by East Geelong, but the umpire has said 1 point only. So it must have crossed the line a little while before and everyone was just still attacking it. But coming out, that's a kick looking for McGrath on the halfback flank. Donahue is still there from where he kicked the ball a little while ago. He just waited, coming through very cleverly. Interception though. Brown gets it back. Crawley to Love. Love back to Hutchison, who kicks into the hot spot. Coming out is Grundle, can't hold the mark. Jared Young's got it. His kick, he lands low. Donahue's got it, kicks it across the body, and he's kicked another one.
I think they're home.
Donahue has finally nailed a snap. I reckon he's had 4 of them to go with his set shots, and he's finally kicked one. And what a crucial goal, Grubby.
Well, I tell you what, and I don't know who the player was because there was a heap of players around it, but it was coming out from an East handball and they were away, and just a hand in there and the interception turned the ball going back the other way. Oh, you might have saw it, Smitty. I don't know who it was.
I think it was Meehan.
Meehan,
just got a hand in, yep.
Just little things like that are really handy.
Well, what a great goal. And we said earlier that he had opportunity and just missed. Now he's just getting them.
So over 25 minutes, healthy buffer for the Inverleigh side. They've been able to run over the top of East Geelong. Ball now in the middle of the ground, back in dispute. They're working hard still. Ball comes out. Robinson dives on top of it, picked up Hutchison.
Took the free kick to East.
Well, it is, but I'm not too sure what for.
Took the legs.
Didn't even knock him over, did they?
He collapsed. He just collapsed. He was the closest one to collapse.
So Belotto, recipient of the free kick, and he is sitting back waiting to know what to do, but he just needs to keep the ball moving. They've got to score. Ball goes into the half-forward line. Muir's there, takes it off the contest. He's tackled, brought to ground, and the ball won't come out of that contest. Umpire to come in and take possession.
Just look at Jared Young in there. He's just telling them, you go there, you go there. He's been around a bit.
Ball thrown in the air. This time Wilson and McLennan go at it. Picked up by Templeton once again. Puts boot to ball. Goes back into the middle of the ground. Behind. Fanning brings the ball to ground. Picked up there by Brown on the left boot. Goes out wide looking for Grundle. Leads in the race for the ball. Heads towards the boundary line. And he'd be happy enough to see the ball over the boundary.
I'm happy enough to see the umpire put his hands up.
So ball's now with the umpire about to be put back into the field of play. Ruckman, they go at it now. McLennan runs to the ball. Wilson gets second hand on it. At ground level, picked up out there, and they try to run through the contest, but it's not going to get through. I reckon that might have been Jared Love once again. It was.
I'll tell you what, my old man is a real big fan of Busey, and it looks like I'm going to go home and tell him that I out-coached him.
So the ball goes into the forward line. A strong mark there from Grundle, and he can go back and settle things down. Donohue's telling him to take every bit of time he can. And a chance here to further extend the lead. I think it's already at a situation where it's too far gone for East Geelong.
He can't kick it that far, can he?
No, he'd struggle.
I'll give him a chance.
At this time of the day. So Grundle now, he's going to go back. Deliberate shot for goal.
You can't blow the whistle. Now. He's got 30 seconds up. You can't blow it and hurry him
Plays on now. Loads up. Goes long. It looks good. It's going to land in the square. What happens from here? Ball comes down and is pushed through for a minor score. So they're now 12-14 Inverleigh. 10-8 to East Geelong. And we have gone just over 28 minutes. Morris Finance final quarter.
Yeah, they can't win. Never doubt. Overtime.
I should never doubt you, Dale. You're a former Sun Kick winner. You know what distance is. You know what distance is. You know what distance is.
In the middle of the ground, coming through is Osland. He can't break away. Tackled balls. Oh, it has come out the back. And Mulville gets it across to Vesekuru. He's dropped the ball. Umpire said play on. He's gone back in for another crack at it. Tackled again. Everyone's desperate to try and get it, but I think they all want a ball up. Is the accurate assessment of that?
Oh, look, I know it's hindsight.
Sun Kick winner.
I know it's hindsight. And have they pulled the wrong string with Vesekuru instead of Huey Menzies?
I don't think he's won his position, that's for sure. So, possibly.
Ball up again, and there is the siren. Inverleigh are into the 2022 GDFNL Grand Final. 18-point winners over East Geelong, 12-14, 86. East Geelong's 10-8, 68. That's 18 scoring shots to 26. There's probably a bit in that story. There's some ice on Matt Tyquin's hamstring. We know that Finn O'Keefe's in serious trouble. The 2 weeks, they'll need every minute of those, I'd imagine. Grubby-cations, winning coach, great game of footy.
Well, before I do talk about that, this season obviously ain't over because I just thought that Inverleigh needed to be in the grand final at this point more than East. Because East have had a rest. Now they go another game. I thought if Inverleigh lost that, I'd lost all chance of them winning that because I just don't think they could come up against the rest at East. But I tell you what, until the last couple of minutes, it was anybody's game. And, well, it just goes to show that experience, like Donohue and Young in them final 10 minutes, can sometimes be better than run in young legs who haven't got the experience, who not panic, but they just don't quite do it. And the experience of Inverleigh was just too good for him in the finish.
No, it certainly was, and really was a joy to watch too. A cracking game. You know, it comes down to the last few minutes where poise and experience and I'm going to say skill because skill counts when you're shooting a goal.
Yeah.
And I just felt that with Young out on this wing, he dominated this wing in that last quarter, took himself out of the middle, gave them an avenue through a very odd angle, and but that worked really well for them because whenever they needed a rest and a breather, Inverleigh kicked it out wide. They went into the pocket, big deep pockets here, so you could have a break, have a throw in, let the rucks keep hustling each other, and then they were able to break open with Burke running inside 50, and of course delivering well to O'Donoghue, who just capped off beautifully when he needed to, and he did miss a couple of opportunities earlier, but was able to make sure that late in the game he was kicking truly. And Dale Smythe, that was a brilliant game of football, great GDFNL football at its best.
We've been waiting for a game of football in the finals, Busey, and that's presented with one. Now let's hope from here on we can continue with the same sort of...
Dale, you didn't tell me you'd won Sun Kick.
That's good enough, Rob.
We're going to take a little break.
I thought they used to call you Jam Tin.
We're going to take a little break, David Steele. Clear a few announcements. We'll get back, and Grubby and Busey will have cleared their notes, and we'll work out exactly what happened here today. This is 94.7 The Pulse, your home of local football.
Football action, the match of the day, only on 94.7 The Pulse.
Closing stages of the coverage today. It's the second semi-final, Gordon Tafe Oval. East Geelong 10-8, 68. They come into the game after a week's rest, and we're just debating whether that's done them any favours or not, because Inverleigh, fresh and up and about, 12-14, 86 defeated them, and will march into the 2022 grand final. We're not exactly sure, but I'm tipping from body language on the netball court that East Geelong were successful, defeating Winchelsea in the A-grade netball game.
Who won the netball, love?
Well done, Zoe.
There you go.
A very happy Zoe Perovic there.
That's a flogging.
That's a flogging in A-grade netball, it is indeed. So East into the grand final in the netball, Inverleigh in the footy. Andrew Bewes, our guest special commentator today. Thank you for coming in. Hope you've enjoyed it. Tell me what you thought of the game.
I thought it was a terrific game. Really well played. A lot of kick control early, both sides feeling each other out. And I know we spoke about it at quarter time, and Rob, you mentioned that, oh no, this is going to be another crap final. It was a terrific final, a great final. It was nip and tuck all the way through. We saw skill, we saw a hard contest, we saw everything that you wanted to see in a September style game of football, and it was a treat to be involved, in fact. And I really loved my time with you guys here calling the game, listening to the game being called. But what I loved most was watching these players out here doing their thing and just providing this big crowd, massive crowd. Thank God for football, it's back. And it was just great. So everybody here was entertained. You know, the netballers had a brilliant run over there. North Geelong Magpies, Seagrade, I think it was. They sneaked themselves in as well. So I'm pretty happy with the day out. But gee whiz, Jared Young, and I'm going to take my hat off to the old boy. We spoke about him at three-quarter time. You know, he slipped himself out onto a wing. And Circuit had been brilliant all day. And I know he's not that flashy player that perhaps he had been in days gone by. He's a fairly old rooster now. But his work rate in the middle, the tackling, harassment, that was outstanding. I thought his contribution was brilliant. The two ruckmen at each other all day was another great feature of the game. And just watching the forward craft of those two key forwards at East Geelong, and then just watching what Inverleigh had to do to win the game when it was in the balance. I just think they did a terrific job. Everybody was a winner today. Football and the crowds all back. Couldn't have been a better day out for me. I really enjoyed it. Grubby?
Oh, well, I enjoyed every week. Excuse me. I enjoyed every week, no matter who wins or even the margin. But, you know, I'm not even going to go through the best players because I reckon every single player out there had an absolute crack. I will mention the big battle we said before the game was the two ruckmen, 1 and 2 in the league, and it didn't let us down either. That was a great battle, and I'm going for a draw again. I don't care what anyone says. I thought it was a great battle. Just a fantastic game of football for the GDFL. I'm glad Inverleigh won in the way that now they're in the grand final. I think if East had a won, I just don't think Inverleigh had it in them to beat them in the grand final. But that's not to say that East Geelong lost. That doesn't mean to say they can't win it, because they bloody well can. But tomorrow's game will be very important because Bannockburn I'm not sure of because of their injuries, but Belpost Hill have proven that they can beat East. So we might have a three-way battle instead of what everybody thinks has been a two-way battle for a lot of the year. The question I'd ask you, Bewsy, is you've done the commentary today. You've been the co-coach with one of the best in the business. How did you go?
Well, I learned a lot. And what you do is you pay homage to your mentors and people you learn great things from. I learned a lot of things to do, and I learned a lot of things not to do. So I thank you for that, Grubby.
Interesting comment by station sponsor Geelong line marking Wayne Skippy. Carroll wandered up. Doesn't watch GDFL football. He's here today, which is a good sign, but his only comment was, those two ruckmen, how good are they? You know, he hasn't seen him. He had no pre-thoughts about them, but it was just a real great battle within the battle, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And I'll tell you what, the bloke I will mention is the bloke that had it all before him. His form's been a bit scratchy. I said a couple of times he's kicked the ball too quick because he might be just getting a little bit older that he thinks he's going to get tackled, but he come to the fore. You say a good captain's game, but that was a great coach's game. And in the end, he didn't win the game for him by himself all day, but in the end, he put the icing on the cake and got him into the grand final. So well done, Buck Donahue.
Yeah, it was good. His quality kicking as his feature of his father's footy was his magnificent drop punt kicking for goal, and he pulled 4 off today, and then to finally get that, well, it was the one that sealed it, the snap under great pressure. Great game.
Yeah, and his leadership was amazing too. I mean, I loved the way he was marching up and down when he was, having his breaks off the field, it didn't mean that he wasn't on the field. His mind was out there. He was yelling, barking orders. He was giving his bench orders. He was organising, structuring. I mean, that's somebody who's really into their gig.
And he can continue to do that from the forward line when he's got a bloke like Jared Young who's doing it all for him up here on the halfback line. He doesn't have to come down here because Young's doing that for him. And I've watched Young and I thought he's been okay for the year. But the performance he put out here today, not just in the football sphere, but in the existing coaching sphere, really, although he probably didn't need to because you could hear Dion Miles from down in East Geelong's footy ground down at Richmond Crescent. But look, when he does that, Buck can still do his structural stuff, but he can stay down there and kick the winning goals like he did. Yeah,
it was a game of forwards. We thought it was going to be about the forwards. It then became about how well the opposition or the other team defended. And I thought Inverleigh improved their defence, and I really believe that East probably didn't improve their defence in that last part of the game. So hats off to the defenders. They don't get big markers from most people. I tend to like to watch them. Their structure was really solid. They ran the ball out well. They didn't miss their targets on the way out, and that's how you retain the football and you cause goals upfield. So well done to Inverleigh, the way they did it.
Grubby, we commented at the start of the game about Inverleigh's defence, minus Violet, who's going to control it. But Billy Cations, Templeton, Byle, they were all really good today.
Oh, Templeton was fantastic. I loved his game, and he was just sensational. And they all banded together. I just think the East forwards left a bit out there. They you know, when they had the chances early, I know Inverleigh kicked. Well, when you look at the scores, like the amount of scores you'd say they should have won easy, but it wasn't that type of game. No. It was just one of those games where one was on top, then the other one's on top, and when Inverleigh got on top, in the end they kicked the goals to win the game.
Goals. Yeah, and that was the thing. And Smithy, we spoke about that too. When you're playing your best football, you've got to be scoring goals. If you're not scoring goals when you're playing your best footy, and they're defending better than you, then you'll probably end up on the other side of the result, which has happened today. Yeah, and I think, right, you're going to have a shot in a minute, Smith.
I'm quite happy listening.
I think, for most of the game, I think East Geelong had Inverleigh covered in their field kicking. I thought they hit more targets, they had them covered. But in that last 10 minutes around this corner, they started to hit targets, Inverleigh, and that's what got them up in the finish. They finally started to hit targets.
It was too. Then that was pressure. There was pressure. Then there was no pressure.
Yep.
So it was coming out easily, and they were hitting their targets easily. And I speak about this a fair bit. Kick control. You know, that's that chip game. That chip. And I thought East were great at that early, or they were better than Inverleigh. Inverleigh got control of their kick control and looked terrific with it.
Yeah, and when you do that chipping, all of a sudden when it just gets tough and you have to score, I think you've got to change your game and kick it long and just throw hell to the wind like thing, and they don't do that.
There is a point in time, though, and you do have to trust that your players upfield can play on instinct and learn to watch where it's going to come from. It's old-fashioned reading of the play. Players and coaches coach kick control because they like to have exactly that, control, and dictate terms to the opposition. But when you're trying to win the game, and I find this to be true, when you're trying to win the game, and even in the AFL, you'll watch them do it, they start the chaos ball. In it goes, and we let the little Stengels and these run onto the ball and do their thing. And that's when games get won.
Yep. Smitty, have you got any idea what we're talking about?
No.
Nah, me either.
No.
Cameron hasn't.
That's why I call, not coach. No, I just reckon the only observation I made was obviously late in that game, you sort of think that East, because they've had the rest, will finish the game strongly, but it was the reverse.
Yep.
The continuity in playing footy can sometimes hold you in pretty good stead in a game like that. And you can see Monaghan, I think, was one. Corden Mars went off.
Yes.
He was holding
McIntyre cramped.
You know, and they're your keys. And probably Corden Mars was probably the major one because really never had the same involvement that he had when they saw him out at East a couple of weeks back. So, you know, they've obviously got some upside, and I think Inverleigh have definitely got some upside with Jack Follett coming back into that defensive line, which then just strengthens up that little bit more. So, look, you know, credit where it's due. They played a good game of football. They never gave it away. They just kept persisting, and the blokes that can actually use the ball, and as I said, Busey spoke about it and Grubb spoken about it, when you can actually use the ball and use it well, how much difference it can make to just controlling the ball and moving it down the field.
But I think the rest might be pretty important for Inverleigh now, though.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, Tyken with that hamstring, and obviously young Finn O'Keefe with that shoulder to gain. He looked like he's walking around okay, so hopefully it's just...
I noticed him when he was, after the game, he was
Left
shaking
hand.
with his left hand.
Yeah. Well, maybe
he's in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, it could be.
He
You just
might have a
to
bit
wait
of
and see.
concussion there too, which is always a worry.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
He's got two. That's the case. So, but again,
2 weeks will only be enough if he passes the test tomorrow.
yeah, well, that's true.
I don't know if we do that down here, do we?
Busey, I know you're a great fan of promoting young kids, and even though they lost today, I thought the outing for Crombie, Mulville and McDonald, they were all really good all day, and I loved the fact Mulville, after he gave away that 50, when the ball had to be won in the middle, a minute later, he was the one that did it, and that's a sign that it hadn't dented his confidence. But how important will it be for their, not just this season, but their careers to come out and play in a game of such pressure like that and still acquit themselves well?
Absolutely. It's the best thing for young men to actually understand why they're playing, why they do the pre-season, why getting to the pointy end of the year, and I call it showtime. And Craig Lambert said to me one year up in Brisbane, he said he hadn't played in finals with Richmond, and he kept saying to me, can't wait to play finals, can't wait to play. I said, mate, it's your stage. I said, you are the bloke. It's showtime is what it's about. And he used to bug me about it all the time until I think it was the second year we play at Brisbane where we finally played a final, and we ran out onto the MCG. We were playing Carlton. They hadn't been beaten all year, and we ran them to within 13 points. And the closest team all year, mind you.
It was.
And Lammy, he came to me afterwards. He said, mate, showtime. He understood because he played his first final. He actually understood what all that pre-season, all that effort, all that work that you go through, all the pain and agony and the happiness and the cheers and all the rest of it. But to finally get in and play your first final, and these kids will be such better players. Crombie, he was, I thought, outstanding, especially as a youngster. Melville and McDonald, again, great opportunity, did their bit, serviceable. You don't have to be the best player on the ground. You've got to be able to play and stack up in these games, because these are the ones where you get recognised. These are the games that you win premierships with, and to be able to perform on the big stage in showtime is what football is all about. And until players get that, that's why we have a ladder, and we have the guys down the bottom who haven't experienced, don't know what it's about. They think they know, but they go, football, the season's over, now it's over. And the season finished early for you. That's what happened.
Yep.
You didn't make the show. And when you make the show, you get it.
And I think, ironically, when you talk about Mulvale, he gave away 50. You give away a few of them during the year and nothing happens, right? But he's made that big mistake in a tough, hard final. He'll always remember that, and I reckon learn from it. He'll definitely learn from it.
The thing I love about that too is you make that point. One error doesn't define the kid, because the best thing that he did, and I always think about what's the next thing he did. The next thing he did, he won the football at centre half back, and he ran through the middle of the field, pinged it deep inside 50.
Yep.
Now that got turned over, but the next thing he did was a positive.
Yeah.
So I love that fact. And
that's great.
That's learning.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to point out something about how good community footy is. We're at a foreign ground. East Geelong are in charge today of catering. They're also in charge of cleaning up. The A-grade netball team have just won their way into the grand final, and the girls are walking around the ground now with bags picking rubbish up. The entire A-grade netball team.
Well, mate, at $35 an hour, I'd be helping them.
But doesn't that say a lot about what your club stands for?
Yeah, it does.
That's really good.
It does, and regardless of what happens to next week or the week after, I think their prototype is something you can follow, East Geelong. It's taken them a while. The O'Learys and their committees have got together. They've got under-18s, which for a start, which only I think 4 clubs have. Their seconds are into the grand final. Their netball's into the grand final. Their seniors have been fantastic all year. And I honestly thought last year that they'd need this year and then be strong the following year. But they've come a year early, and they can still win it. And they've come a year early, and I think a lot of taps on the back have got to be given for the East Geelong committee. Yeah. They've done a fantastic job.
They've done a lot right. Gentlemen, it is time to go. Elvis is in the building, and we need Andrew Buse, thank you very much again. Dale Smith, I hope you enjoyed your day as much as we did in Grubby. We know you enjoy it. You always enjoy it. Really appreciate it. Listeners, thank you very much for tuning in. We'll speak to you tomorrow at 1:15.
See you, Connie Valenti.
See you, boys.
See you, Steelo.
Thanks, mate.
That's all right. Stand by for Elvis.